so much stress. You have to clean the house.
Well, yeah.
You have to find the damn presents. And nobody cares. And then people are doing the food. And you have to be at places on time. And I don't care about most of this stuff because I don't really care. But it's still stressful because it feels like you're going to get yelled at if you don't go to the place on time.
Well, I guess. Do you ever listen to the song called 12 Pains of Christmas?
No.
It's kind of funny.
I don't think I'm going to.
That's fine. It's funny, though.
I'll
There's one
take your
guy who
word
gets
for
like, he goes nuts because of the lights. It's great.
Okay, so it's
Sounds like a musical.
finally Christmas morning here. which
Merry
means
Christmas.
I'm going to put on my pajamas.
You don't already have them on? It's just the morning. Were you like in the clothes from last
No,
night?
because we had to get back from, I don't know. I can't even think of a scenario.
It sounds like you were like hungover and you just had to put on you're like, I'm putting my pajamas on now.
You know what, though? You know what the holidays isn't, Rachel? The end of the world. And that we can be grateful for.
That is very true. Yes.
That's what people need to remember. It's not the end of the world.
Luckily.
Unless it is.
Right.
And that's very possible.
Of course.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Rachel.
And this is Shelf Life.
I thought it was Jeopardy.
A holiday podcast where brother and sister team go through all things pop culture to determine whether or not that's a particular animal on your shelf. And
You almost said that like Ralphie with his
With the
gun.
gun?
Yeah.
And today we are here. We're in front of the fireplace. It's a crisp Saturday morning. Not a...
Take two.
Here on a crisp Christmas morn, we're having a hot chocolate by the fire, and we're about ready to kick
Probably
off
some
a
cinnamon rolls. I
holiday-
think I put some cinnamon rolls in the oven.
Cinnamon rolls?
Yeah.
Is it?
Do you want pancakes?
I would love to know what people have as their like traditional holiday Christmas.
Do you want waffles? Pancakes?
Pancakes? Maybe.
Eggs?
No, too much.
Cinnamon rolls?
Sure. Yes.
Muffins?
Okay, fine. You're right. The cinnamon. rolls.
Muffins? Bagels?
Stop it. Stop it. This is not Munch Madness, Rachel.
Ooh.
This is
That's an idea, though.
It's a hell of an idea. This is a podcast where we go through all things pop culture to determine whether or not something belongs on your shelf. I said that already. But this is our holiday special. We had so much fun last year doing our holiday specials that we decided that we would do them
Again.
again.
Again. And again and again.
And again and again.
From all angles.
Oh, it's terrible. And yes, the stressful time of the holidays, of course, but it is now Christmas morning. It's time to open presents. It's time to relax. It's time to enjoy yourselves.
Yes.
And that goes for you all, too.
I feel like we're on some weird radio.
And Rachel, just like last year, it looks like Santa gave us some presents.
Santa. Oh.
They don't look
I
like
hope
they're
they're
big enough
good
to be
ones.
BB guns, though.
Oh,
so I'm
dang
not
it.
quite
I
sure
really
what
wanted
this
that Red Ryder BB gun.
You would.
Actually, I wanted the Zeppelin, but...
Okay, so, who should... You want me to open my gift
Yeah,
first?
you can open yours
Okay.
first. Go ahead.
To Shelf Life Kevin
Aw,
from Satan. No, Satan? It says Satan.
that's a Satan? Well, that's...
It's probably just a typo.
That's got to be a typo.
Jesus is dyslexic.
You know that new movie with Jack Black?
That looks wretched.
We watched it.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
It looks
I'm just saying, the kid's
Absolutely
dyslexic. That's the whole... That's why Satan answers the call.
yeah, well.
What is it, Kevin?
Well, I'll tell you. Open it up.
You don't have to open it perfectly.
Well, maybe it is the end of the world.
Oh, no.
It is one of, in my opinion, classic episodes of television in general, but definitely a classic episode of this television show.
Oh, boy.
It is American Dad,
Oh.
Rapture's Delight.
Oh, God. Oh, boy. Merry
let me-
Christmas.
What is it, season 5, episode 10? Season 5, episode 9 of American Dad, Rapture's Delight. Rachel is going to enjoy that one
Ooh,
so much.
So much.
All right, Rachel, let's see. I'll get your present here. Reach over. Yeah.
All right.
Here in the Shelf Life Studios.
Ooh. Well, this is definitely different than Rapture's Delight.
Hmm.
We're going to be watching Recess.
Again? We already got a recess. Which one is this recess?
How dare you?
Well, we only did one episode.
We did
of recess.
one episode.
You're
This
right.
is the special. This is the Christmas special. Santa shaves.
Yes, Mikey. Santa does shave. Rachel tossed away the wrapping paper.
Well, what
there.
did you want me to do
That's
with it?
that is the worst part. Is that we just have all this what is wrapping paper?
I feel like we should be able to do
with
something else
leftover
with
wrapping
wrapping
paper? You should
paper.
be able to do something with it.
Yeah.
There needs to
I
be some
agree.
alternate function for wrapping
It could be a lot of fun.
All right. Well, I mean, I guess it's supposed to be a calm morning, so I guess
Are we starting off with the Rapture, or are we going to start off with Santa
let's start with
in
the
a
Rapture.
child's dream of Santa?
No, I guess we'll start with the end of the world.
Okay,
So
I guess that's fine.
I'm
Bad
gonna-
news first, then the good news.
Why don't you go put the rolls in?
Okay.
Since it is Christmas morning.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go get some hot cocoa, and then when we come back after word from our fake sponsor, we will begin our holiday walkthroughs. First, Rapture's Delight.
Wouldn't it be great if you could get everybody's Christmas gift at the same place? Maybe you can. I'll let you in on a little secret. The Holiday Gift Center at Blockbuster. After all, everybody has a favorite movie. And who has more favorites than Blockbuster? Besides having more movies to rent, they also have more movies to give. Oh, plus they have all kinds of video games for the kids. So take care of everybody on your list. Make it a Blockbuster holiday.
Well, what else is it in?
I didn't know. I've never seen Ella Enchant. Is that a Christmas movie, Rachel?
It's like a Cinderella.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like is that on the list?
For Christmas? No. It's not a Christmas movie.
Are you putting it on the list in general?
Sure.
Hmm.
Yeah. I want you to have to watch that. Yeah.
I want you to have to watch that. And we're back with another walkthrough. This time it is our big holiday special. Rachel and I are here bringing you some holiday joy, although we're trying to be a little more relaxed this year on our Christmas and holiday special because it's Christmas morning. We're just hanging out. We're having some good times. And of course that means that I have opened up a present that is Rapture's Delight.
Yeah,
the
that
American
sounds
Dad
so
episode.
relaxing and lovely.
I'm going to flat out say this now at the beginning. We watched this, and then when we were done, Rachel went, wasn't very Christmassy in her best Mr. Hanky.
I had to.
I disagree. There's Christmas. There's Christmas.
In the beginning and the end.
I mean, they disperse it throughout
Eh.
a little bit.
Eh.
The decorations are up the entire episode.
It's because it's now the apocalypse that happened during Christmas.
That's right.
So it's just, what, perpetually Christmas?
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes, kind of.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Hell on earth Christmas.
We haven't touched on American Dad yet.
We have not.
And we have subtly made reference to our distaste for most of Family Guy.
Yes.
American Dad, on the other hand, I would say has hills and valleys.
Yes. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Mhm,
And has been on for probably far too long.
Oh, the amount of seasons this has is outrageous.
Do you want to explain in your own words, what American Dad is?
American Dad is a sitcom.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Elf because there's an alien. But then the dad is also
This is the only time anyone has ever said, you know what's like American Dad? Elf.
Isn't that the alien?
Yeah.
Yeah, so think like there's an alien. The dad is in the FBI. CIA is in the CIA. Has a burnout daughter and a idiot teenage son and
a nerdlinger.
nerdlinger. Yeah. And then the wife is just kind of a blonde ditz. And they also have a fish that used to be like a German spy or something, I think, that got turned into a fish. That's the family. But what is
Yeah.
this about? A regular American family. The average American family.
See, okay.
It's not at all.
Well, it is supposed to be about like your average American family, but the dad is in the CIA.
I think it's just making fun of the idea of the average American family.
Yeah. And the fact that like Stan Smith, who is the protagonist, he is the titular American dad.
Yes, he loves America.
Yes.
He'd marry America if he could.
Well, okay. So this is it's not a spin-off of Family Guy, but it's the second show of the Seth MacFarlane animated shows.
Right.
And I don't know why the show came to be, like who decided that, like because of Family Guy that Seth MacFarlane was going to get a second show, because at the point this came out in like 2005 or something like that. It was definitely in this timeline where I think Family Guy had already been knocked off the air and might have come back.
Okay.
February 6, 2005, following the Super Bowl. So I know at that point Family Guy had been canceled.
Mm-hmm.
I think it had come back.
Mm-hmm.
So it just seems odd that they would be able to get another show. So Seth MacFarlane said that what spurred it was right after the 2000 election, and me and co-producer Matt Wiseman were so frustrated with the Bush administration that we could just spend days bitching and complaining, and we figured we should channel this into something creative and hopefully profitable. And I would say that you see that in the early seasons of American Dad.
Yes.
It is because Stan is your prototypical conservative father that works for the CIA, and they make jokes about how the U.S. world police and stuff like that.
Right.
The first couple seasons of American Dad are bad, I think. But by this point in time, they had carved out their own niche.
Yeah.
They're over the top and goofy, and the best episodes of American Dad are like all high concept and take like genres and twist them, and they make fun.
Those are always fun when they do stuff like that.
They can make fun.
Sometimes they go a little too crazy, and then I'm like, okay, you lost me.
Yeah, and then they get a little too out of hand. Good ones, I think, always have that kind of bent where it's like, yeah, you can see that they're making fun of the U.S. They're making fun of like conservatism and liberalism and like stuff, because Haley is your super liberal.
Yes, the
that's
super liberal daughter, conservative dad.
Yeah, all of that comes together. But by this point, by season 5, they definitely had something where they understood that, like, oh, this doesn't have to be just a Family Guy. It's not the drunk Rhode Islander. It's some CIA guy.
Mm-hmm.
Now they knew, like, okay, we can do weird concepts. Partially because of Roger.
Oh, mostly because of Roger.
Who is the alien on the show.
Yes.
I think they eventually, or at some point, do say that, like, he rescued Roger.
Yes, there's a whole story about that one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they keep him in the attic. Even Steve, who I know you think is too
grosses
pervy
me
for
out.
you, Rachel.
He grosses me out so much.
I think he's a good satire of that in a lot of ways. And he goes on, like, his own adventures with his friends, and then like, he's a really good singer, and they do all that kind of thing.
Right.
Or even Francine is, like, the ditzy wife, but she used to be, like, a party girl, and now she's, like, pinned down as, like, the housewife. What's Haley's husband? Jeff. That's right, yeah. And then they also have Klaus, their talking fish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who
so, like...
I'm pretty sure used to be, like, a spy or something, and then they turned him into a fish. Just saying.
I thought, yeah, like... I
swear he is.
He's, like, something... a bad German, but he also was, like, I know he did, like, a downhill snow or something like that. I don't remember.
Oh.
Like
he was
a
an
skier.
East German Olympic ski jumper.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. That's right.
I thought he was a bad guy, and that's why he was turned into a fish. He just was a ski jumper. They're like, no, you're a fish now.
I don't know why he became a fish, but I know he, like, injured himself.
It says to prevent him from winning the gold. So
okay, so it was like a completely stupid reason, which makes it even more fun. Okay, this episode of American Dad, it takes place in their era where they live. Like, they figured it out. They've toned down the political commentary a bit, and they just now do focus on, like, being super over the top funny. I find American Dad much more tight than Family Guy, and it's like, if they're gonna do something, have a plot, they stick to it. All of the jokes revolve around the characters, the situation. This is a good example of that, in my opinion, is Rapture's Delight.
Yeah, Family Guy is just a bunch of hodgepodge
random
crap that
stuff.
Doesn't actually fit together at all and doesn't make any sense.
I remember, Rachel, in particular, in high school, when American Dad first started. There were a group of a few of us that would, like, be able to quote the stuff from Family Guy. There was one kid in particular that was even nerdier than we are. He was way ahead of his time. Super, super nerdy guy. Have no idea what happened to him or where he is. But I remember him in particular. He compared American Dad and Family Guy to Futurama and The Simpsons, because he said that Futurama was necessary because it allowed The Simpsons to evolve into Futurama, and like that's now your like new good show, and it can continue that way. American Dad was the same thing, whether they realized it or not, was that it was the evolution of this style to American Dad, so that American Dad could be the thing that can be better than what it was. And to me, that kind of makes some sense. He advocated for American Dad. Rachel. Rapture's Delight, though. Not their first Christmas special, but it is one of their Christmas episodes. What would you say that this episode is about?
It's about the Rapture.
Do we need to explain what the Rapture is?
It's about the Rapture in a
Well, actually, you know what? We can have someone explain what the Rapture is.
Oh yeah, you're right. We can.
Yeah.
We have somebody.
Ricky?
Go on.
Hey kids, I'm Ricky the Raptor, here to tell you about the Rapture. The Rapture is the beginning of the end of the world. It starts with all true Christians floating up to heaven.
What about the sinners that are left behind?
Well, Jojo, they get to witness the second coming of Jesus.
Jesus is coming back. Did he forget something?
Nope, Jesus is coming back for Armageddon.
Okay, so that's what the Rapture is.
Yeah. So it's about that
Mm-hmm.
and them being like left behind and having to deal with the craziness of the war between Jesus and hell.
Merry Christmas.
Yep, Merry Christmas, everybody.
Has
It
always-
becomes like a Mad Max-ish.
Yeah, it's a Mad Max. It's a Mad Max 1980s kind of thing, a ripoff of like the Mad Max dystopian world. This one always stood out to me. I remember years ago I recorded it on like our DVR because they'll play all of the American Dad Christmas episodes. For some reason, American Dad honed in on Christmas. They have a Christmas episode like every year. It's always like they
their
go over the
niche.
top. They always want to do like bloody, violent, like
Yeah,
craziness.
it's not like cute Christmas. It's horrifying Christmas.
Yeah. For those of you that are new to Shelf Life, nothing encapsulates Rachel and I more than the fact that I was like American Dad and Rachel was like Recess. And that's the two episodes that you get in the holiday extravaganza this year.
That's fine.
So let's get right into it. There's a poster of the advertisement for this particular episode, and the poster is actually pretty good, Rachel. It's called the Rapture ad. Show it to you. Like, it's a whole like.
Oh my god!
Like they like did
It looks
it
like a
up.
video game.
Yeah, they
It looks
it's
like Doom. It like reminds me of Doom.
It does look kind of like Doom, but they took this one pretty seriously, I think. This episode debuted on December 13th, 2009. Is the 9th episode of season 5. For those of you that are looking for this on the interwebs. The plot synopsis. You want to know what the plot synopsis is, Rachel?
Yes, please.
The world ends, and Stan, Francine, and Roger are left behind. That's it.
All right.
Directed by Joe Danilo. Danilo? Okay, I'm going to pronounce it.
Brindillo?
Daniello. Daniello? Like Jello? Daniello.
Yeah, maybe
That's what I think it is.
Daniello.
Joe Daniello. That's what I'm calling you, Joe Daniello. And the writers are Chris and Matt McKenna, who I think have done a lot of the writing for American Dad over the years. So that is it's Rapture's Delight. Let's get right into it. Let's start the holiday season here. The episode begins. We can probably say what the opening credits are because it's the first time we're doing an American Dad episode.
That's
Rachel,
fine.
the American Dad opening credits. It's Stan singing "Good Morning" to the USA.
Yes, that's right.
Good morning, USA. I've got a feeling it's gonna be a wonderful day. The sun in the sky has a smile on its face. And it's just him getting ready to go to work. He says goodbye to all of
Each one of his
the
family
members. As he's driving into work. At least by this season,
Yes.
Roger would pop out in the
Right.
car, usually wearing a different costume.
Always in a disguise of some
That
sort.
was like their chalkboard gag, was like, what disguise will Roger wear? Because
That's true. Yeah.
Roger, for whatever reason, I mean, that's the gag, is that if
Roger.
he puts Roger the alien, if I put on a disguise, no one can tell who I am.
Exactly. He has
So-
so many personas.
Yeah, if he puts a disguise... Right, like, the gag becomes that, like, Roger can get... Because I
He
think
gets
in
away
the-
with so. This is
in
why
the-
he gets to go out and do stuff.
Yeah, I think in the early days they would like keep him in the house or in the attic,
Mhm.
and then they like morphed that character to be if he puts on a disguise, like a costume.
Right.
no one else except for the Smiths can tell that it's Roger,
Yes.
even though he is a stout gray alien.
Yes, he's a pear-shaped alien.
Looks
he's
like
gray.
E.T., but gray with a big head.
Absolutely. Yep.
So the joke is that like no one else can tell that it's Roger.
He's got an ET body, like a typical alien head, and
Yeah.
he's gray.
Yeah, like the big gray alien
Yeah.
head. Yeah. His gimmick is that he'll always have a different costume and like a different persona,
Mhm.
as you said, Rachel. And they play with that throughout the
Oh,
run of
my
American
God.
Dad. Like
Yeah.
he'll have a different persona and all of his stuff. They'll do episodes that are like so like crazy where like he can't remember which persona he is.
Right, and he
like
has to
becomes
keep
like a serial
changing, and
killer
then-
and
yeah.
stuff. And yeah. This episode's gag is that Roger comes out as Santa Claus. Or he like has
Santa.
a Santa Claus like outfit.
Right.
on.
Really bad one. You know, it's pretty much just like the coat, the hat, and like a really poorly done beard.
Yeah, he's got a bad Santa.
Yeah, it's
outfit on.
great.
I think always
He
Stan
always
runs
crashes.
in. Yeah,
Yes.
he crashes into the flagpole.
Yeah,
at the
and salutes
CIA.
it. Yep.
Yeah, and then salutes the flag.
Yep. Now he's at work. As per usual, don't you always crash your car getting to work?
I
it's the
do
easiest
every
way.
day. It's the easiest way is to just slide in
Yeah.
and do like a nice skid right into the spot. Sometimes I
Absolutely.
hit somebody, sometimes I don't, and that's fine.
Yeah.
The episode begins with it is Christmas Day. There's snow on the ground. All of the decorations are up at the typical Smith household. And Stan goes all out for Christmas because he thinks
He is the
that,
family man.
well, he's a family man,
Oh,
but
he's also a good like Christian man.
that's what it is, I think, because he's trying to be like, I'm the best.
He wants to be better than everybody
Mhm.
else. So even
Yeah.
in the religious sense, he's like, I am the better of everybody.
Right. I'm the better Christian. I'm the guy that's going to be like the best at this. So that's his like lease on life. And that's why he wants like Christmas to be as like perfect as it can be. So the kids are opening gifts.
Yeah, they're just
It's
just
very
hanging out.
odd. And like they're teenagers. So like Haley's like 18, 19. I think she's
I
like
think so.
I think she's like late teens.
I'm pretty sure. If not like already
She's out of
early
high
20s.
school, I think, by this
Yeah.
point. Like, she goes to, like, a junior college, I
Right.
think. And Steve is 14, 15. He, like, just started high school, I
Okay.
think. But, yeah, they're just sitting there opening presents. And Francine walks down the stairs.
In a really cute dress. Honestly. It's
Rachel
a pretty dress.
approves this dress.
Yes. Stan doesn't though. Calls her a
Well,
slut.
He calls her a $2 whore.
Oh, I apologize. $2 whore.
Her calves are showing. She looks like a $2 whore as they're about to go to Christmas. So Stan, of course, wants everything to be perfect because he wants to show up all the rest of the Christians. And then Roger comes in, and he is dressed up in a particular outfit. I think it's supposed to be like... he doesn't say what outfit this is, but he's like got a... How would
Anne
you
of Green
describe
Gables.
this? Okay, I was gonna say
Right?
like a little
Little
house
House on the Prairie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's dressed up in this. He wants to go with them to church. He loves it because he thinks it's so stupid.
Because
He
it's
thinks
like a whole
that-
story. He thinks
yeah,
it's funny.
He thinks that it's just so over the top and ridiculous. And he's like, yeah, the Son of Man came down and saved you and all this stuff. He's
Right.
like, now they're going into space or whatever.
Yeah,
and
he just constantly is making fun of it.
yeah. Stan thinks that he's showing the proper respect for the religion by dressing up in his Little House on the Prairie style, but in reality, he just wants to go, so he's just playing along because of how
Right.
crazy he thinks it all is.
Because he thinks it's actually like magical. They're like making fun, like he's making fun of it because it's like, oh, it's like Harry Potter and
Yeah, I think he says it's like if Harry Potter, but there's genocide and folk music. It's a good line. One of the things about American Dad is that there's a lot of jokes very, very quickly.
Oh yeah,
Which is why I like it more than Family Guy, because Family Guy pretends itself to be like the cutaways, the slowness that you're not used to.
and then they just elongate everything.
American Dad, not on the level of The Simpsons with wittiness, but on the level with The Simpsons on the quick joke,
Mhm.
where there's just a million jokes, and like they'll just move on to the next one. So like that little joke of just Roger is
like, going,
nudging
"Huh?
at nothing, and he's like, wait, who am I nudging?
That's it. That's enough.
They're Episcopalians. We learn here. I don't think we learn here, but like we know that they're Episcopalians. They're going to an Episcopalian church.
Does that have any? Does it mean anything?
I think it's just supposed to be one of those like random Protestant religion type things. I don't think it's supposed to be like if it was evangelical, it would be like really on the nose.
Okay.
So
There's
I
just
don't.
so many branches to
Yeah.
everything at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. I don't know
So
if
I was
there's
like,
any
is this like
significance.
a specific meaning? I just
Yeah.
didn't know if there was one.
There's no parking.
Of course not. It's Christmas.
And Stan is pissed off because there is no parking, and it's all of these. He calls them fair weather Christians that show up only on Christmas and Easter.
Mhm.
We would call them Creasters, I believe.
I think so.
Yeah, Rachel, Creasters, your thoughts?
Well,
Well, I will say this.
I mean, it's the most interesting ones to go to.
I've
so-
told Mom now because of the timing. We would always go to specifically growing up to the mass that we would play our instruments at.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
they would do a thing where like
were in the
high school
band.
kids like
Mhm.
you could do like your instruments. So we would play the instruments at that particular mass, and it never was like the most busy.
No, but it was popular because people liked having like us
Sure.
play for them.
But like the one before that was usually the
Oh,
busy one. Like
absolutely.
we would be like setting up or whatever, and it would be packed. And I think it was just because of timing, because it was like right before dinner was that mass,
Right.
and then like we would be like at the one where most
Like
people were like at a
7.
Christmas dinner. Yeah, Easter is a different story. I started telling Mom we will go to Palm Sunday
Yeah.
because that's the story.
That's the fun story.
Because Easter
You
is
get
a
the full story, you get
huge
everything
pain in the
going on,
ass.
you get the palms.
So I get Stan's frustration. I would just say, don't go on that particular day. Hopefully God raptures you still. Hopefully.
Well, I would have.
Hopefully.
Don't even get me on that.
I'm hoping. Just saying. So
Look, maybe
Stan,
he's leaving the ones behind that have to fight, and they're really good at fighting.
it's also possible.
Yeah,
He needs that army.
He's a CIA agent.
He
yeah.
is a CIA agent. It makes sense. We never do find out why Stan doesn't get raptured.
Oh, do
in this
we?
episode. You think it was because they had sex in the janitor's
I
closet
mean,
at
that's
the church?
that's what we're implying. I don't think God really cared too much, but
I like your interpretation, Rachel. He needed him there because he could be a warrior.
Right.
He's in the CIA.
he needs to work with Jesus.
That's right. Stan says that most of them won't make the rapture. They're going to be left behind if the rapture ever does come. And Roger asks him, what does that mean? And he explains that it's when
You
if the end of
ascend
the
to
world comes, you
heaven.
ascend to heaven if you've been good enough. And Roger's like, oh my God, you're flying now. or Stan is dropping the kids off and Roger to like get seats for them.
Right.
So they can find a spot and to park. And Roger goes, I really hope that I haven't missed the part where the 3 Chinese guys give the perfume to the baby or the star child.
To the star child. I mean, yeah, that's.
Yeah, he really breaks it down and makes it sound like an insane story.
It
but-
is kind of crazy when you like, pull out a little bit.
Oh,
and you think
every
about it.
religion is crazy when you think about it, but it's supposed to be guiding you to be a better person.
I would assume, hopefully.
So Stan and Francine come in, and the place is already packed. Everyone is singing like "Joy to the World" at this point. So there's nowhere to sit. There's nowhere to even stand.
all
The
just
place is
stand.
just completely
Yeah.
packed. There's nowhere to go. And Francine decides like maybe she can. I think she has good intentions. She just wants him to relax.
Yeah, because
she
he
wants
is
her
not
to-
relaxed.
Yeah, she wants it to be like a good Christmas. And this is where Stan says that he's a better Christian in there than anyone. So like Stan is like making this all a big competition. And Francine goes, well, I have an idea. Like, let's take a break here. And she goes into the janitor's closet.
Which is really disgusting.
Stan even says this is where the slow janitor lives, where he's like made like mouse dolls and stuff. It's very strange.
It's creepy and weird. It's like, why? Why is this weird janitor's closet here?
So she seduces him.
Yes.
Basically. So they have sex in the janitor's closet while mass is going on, mind you. Christmas mass. So it's very very risque here.
Oh, yes.
But that goes back to Francine being like the party girl when she was younger, like right before she met Stan. So you like have that bit of Francine in there.
Yeah, she's kind of an idiot, but she's just like the sexy idiot to Stan.
When they exit, it's very eerily quiet, and no one seems to still be there.
Right.
And there's no way that Stan lasted that long because it's Stan. So like you would have thought that mass was still going on.
Oh, absolutely.
But they don't hear anything, and they open the doors to the church, and all
They're
that's
just
there
clothes.
are a bunch of clothes.
Yes.
And then they look out the window, and the rapture has started, and all of these people are ascending into heaven
Completely naked.
naked, which I guess is how you'd go.
You come out naked, you go back naked.
You're gonna live naked or you die naked. You don't die naked. If you time it right, you do. It's a joke from the Drew Carey Show. I like the bit where they go all around the world and people are ascending into heaven, and then they go on to Las Vegas.
Yes, and only
there's like
one
one person.
That's funny. It's the city of sin, Kevin.
That's right.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Vegas during the Rapture. I think there's a Stephen King story about that, actually.
Do they even know the Rapture's happening?
It's not the Rapture. It's called The Stand. Have you ever heard of that?
It sounds familiar. I haven't read it or watched it.
There's 2 miniseries on it, actually.
Now I feel like I have to.
He was trying to do a modern day Lord of the Rings. Like, there's a pandemic and like 98% of the world dies, and then like the bad guys set up camp in Vegas.
Interesting.
So a lot of the story takes place in Vegas. I don't know. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not.
Rings?
Some people like it. The main villain, like across a bunch of Stephen King books, is in it. I can't remember his name.
Figures.
Yeah.
It?
No,
it's
not
I'm
it.
joking.
It's like General Flag or something like that. I
Okay.
can't remember. Anyway, Haley and Steve have been raptured, but Francine and Stan haven't. Neither has the priest. Neither has the slow janitor, who says that he never really accepted Jesus into his life, so he didn't get to be raptured either. Roger comes back, this time dressed up as Moses, because he was going to do some funny
crazy bit. He was probably going to try to
during
like
the church.
Yes, he was probably going to open the doors and pretend he was like the next Moses or something.
And then he sees that they've all been raptured, and he's like, "Wait, this is real?" And he like gets nervous for a second, and then he goes, "Oh my God, the homeless guy from the bus station is hung."
I already knew that.
I knew that. And that's supposed to be the end of the first act. So the rapture has now happened. And Rachel's going, why is this a Christmas episode?
Well, we started on Christmas.
It starts on Christmas.
Yeah, the Rapture is happening on Christmas.
We come
Merry
back,
Christmas.
and Stan is freaking out because he's naked. He's sitting naked in like the
He rips
the
his
religious
clothes
ed
off.
the religious
Yeah,
ed
because
room.
he's like, oh, they haven't taken me yet. I'll just have to take my clothes off for them, and then
Yeah.
just stands there and.
Oh wait, he hasn't taken his clothes off yet. That's later. But he is freaking out, and he's asking the priest like, "What's going on?"
Right.
And the priest
That's
says,
happening right now.
"No,
That's when
'cause
he takes his clothes off.
he takes his clothes off after they watch the Ricky the Raptor video."
No, he takes his clothes off when they're standing outside.
I don't think so. Because he asked the priest, like, what do we do? And the priest is like, I don't really know. Because the priest is, like, dragging on a cigarette because he's, like, a bad priest. He's just like, I don't know. But I do think that I know I've got, like, something that could help us. And that's when they go to Ricky the Raptor.
I really thought he like took his clothes off first because then they watch the raptor while he's naked.
No, I think that he takes them off after.
You know, it doesn't really matter.
It does,
A man
Rachel.
takes his clothes off so that he could get raptured, but it's not going to happen. You can't just take your clothes off and expect to ascend to heaven.
So anyway, first of all, yes, you can. Folks at home, try this.
Don't tell
the
people
rapture,
to streak.
If the rapture starts to happen, you just get naked and see what happens. Oh, okay. You know what? Fine. Rachel was right. He rips off all of his clothes, thinking that there's been some mistake, and he's trying to get raptured.
And we already listened to Ricky the Raptor.
Yes,
You guys
so
got to hear him.
Cut to Ricky the Raptor.
The puppet.
Ricky the Raptor, who's going to tell us about the rapture. He tells us all about how it's the end of the world. Okay, I forgot that he was sitting there naked.
Yes, that's
Okay.
But we have our little puppet friends telling us about, sinners being left behind and all of that.
There's also
stuff.
like a southern hedgehog cowboy puppet with
Damn
Ricky
straight.
the Raptor.
Yeah,
Jojo the hedgehog, I think.
I like it.
I do like this puppet show to explain the rapture. It's very fun.
Oh my god, yes. Because it's like, the second coming of Jesus.
They witness the second coming, and Jojo asks Ricky, like, why, did he forget something? And Ricky says, no, he's coming back for Armageddon. And they show these
And then it becomes like this
completely
like,
different animation style.
yes,
Because
like comic book animation.
the typical American Dad animation style is like a mix of your Family
Very
Guy.
flat.
Yeah, it's flat.
Yeah.
Normal colors, like normal.
It's like
markers.
a coloring
like
book.
you'd have them like yeah. Versus this animation style, which, like you said, Rachel, is like it's like a not Seth MacFarlane. That's who made this. Scott MacFarlane, like Scott MacFarlane comic book, like
Okay.
the Venom
Yes.
comic book
Mhm.
Spawn.
Right.
Looks like Spawn.
Yeah. Video game kind of like the very darks, lot
Well,
of
you
shading.
compared it to like Doom, and that is kind of
very
what it's supposed to look
Doom-esque.
like. Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's showing all of these things about what's going to happen with the end of the world.
But it gets
looks-
very violent.
It looks very different.
Demons.
It's clearly not like kid friendly, and that's
Oh,
the joke
absolutely
that like this
not.
video is for kids to tell them about what the rapture is going to be like, and then of course it's just completely ridiculously over
Blood
the top
everywhere.
violent. Yeah. I really liked that they changed the style for this. I think that it's funny that they've done this completely. It almost foreshadows
It
like that they're
does.
going to have a completely different style in the third act, and then like the whole idea of that they're pushing their almost their creative boundaries with like their
Oh, yes.
Christmas episode, you know,
Right.
because like I've even seen debates online, is this canon or not? And it's like, well,
It could be.
it could be because of the ending.
Right.
But it also could just be
For fun.
an American Dad episode. It doesn't matter. It's not
Right.
canon. Or this is the last episode. Like you don't really know.
Right.
Ricky.
And I also think it is like a joke on how scary if like all the Bible stories and stuff are.
Yes.
And how
yes.
it like it just yes.
Because like okay, let's talk about the Bible for a second. So we have
oh gosh.
the New Testament happens.
Mhm.
Jesus dies for our sins, comes back, ascends into heaven. And then the last chapter of the book turns into an action movie.
Yes.
Dystopian nightmare.
Right.
Of course, the whole point of that, I think, was to give people hope that they would not be, because at the time
Scare
that
the shit out of you and give you hope that you're going to be saved.
at the time that Revelations was being written, it was when Christians were being severely persecuted.
Oh yeah, for real.
So it was like, well, don't worry. At some point, like Jesus will come back
Right.
and he will set the world right. Now there is going to be hell on earth. It's like so weird. Like it's like yes, there is just going to be the most epic action movie
It's
you've
the
ever
most
seen.
epic fight of the entire universe.
What I've always wondered, and priests at home, let us know. I know that you're listening. The Rapture, you ascend into heaven. Like, you get to bypass the crap, right?
Yeah.
And then there's 7 years of war, which really doesn't sound like that
And then
much in
what?
the grand scheme of things. Well, then there's 1,000 years of peace or something like that, which
Yeah.
also doesn't sound like a grand scheme of things in the grand scheme of things.
thinking.
But they thought it sounded good enough
It's
at the
interesting.
time. I think it's supposed to be like everlasting peace, but like
Yeah.
some interpretations have it as 1,000
Becomes like
years.
heaven on earth then
Yeah.
eventually.
Let's say that you fight in that 7
How do you
years.
know it's only going
don't
to last
get-
7 years? What if it only lasts like a year? I'm sorry, go on.
7 is a very
I know
typical
7 is a
number.
very, very
mythological
number. It's very it's special. It's special to a lot of different cultures and people and things
It's like
and
how
literature.
40 shows up a lot in the Bible and stuff like that
Yeah.
too.
But I'm sorry, go on.
If you die you weren't raptured,
Oh, yeah,
and you
yeah.
die during
Yeah.
that time period, do you go to heaven if you were fighting on
Well,
the
they
good
were
side?
sinners. But say that's the thing, right? Do you get to fight?
Do you
Are you allowed to
redeem
fight with the
yourself?
angels and Jesus?
Yeah. I think you
I think you
are.
should be
I think you're
allowed to.
supposed to. The whole point is that you'd
And
rather be
this is where my headcanon is. He's leaving the ones behind that can fight.
Well, it's supposed to be that, or you have to redeem yourself to be able to get into
All right,
heaven.
fine. I guess that's okay too.
Because the whole point is that if you are raptured, then you get to bypass the
war.
hell on earth, and you don't have to deal with it.
Yeah.
But like, what if you just die of natural causes?
Oh, that's
It's like
shitty.
just
Yeah.
it's just an interesting way to end that book.
Right.
But anyway, Ricky says that the Antichrist is he's kind of like a
Towley or Mr. Hanky?
Yeah, he's kind of your Mr. Hanky of this episode. He says that the Antichrist is going to come, and Jojo the Hedgehog asks him, "Is that the stuff that your daddy puts in the car?" And Ricky says, "No, that's
antifreeze."
antifreeze." Such a dumb joke.
It is.
It ends with Satan riding the Cerberus three-headed horse or three-headed dog and screaming at the screen. And
Yeah,
then
I'm assuming that's supposed to be Satan, right? And not
oh yeah, that's supposed
the
to be
Antichrist.
Satan. Yeah, not the Antichrist,
Okay.
but Satan. Yeah. It ends with a Christian kids production.
Oh my god, it's great.
I presume it wasn't supposed to be animated. Like this last shot, I presume that this is supposed to be like a guy in a big cross costume
they
because you can
recorded
see
this
his hands
on set.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
and he's wearing sunglasses and he goes, "Stay cool," and like rolls back.
Yeah, because he's on rollerblades.
It's a really good satire of
Trying to
Christian
get kids
movie,
to
like
pay
to- yeah,
attention.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. That ends the video, and Stan has like freaked out about this and has gone to the back of the room and is on the phone asking if he can get a charter helicopter that can take him maybe just a mile into the air. He will just grab onto someone.
Yes.
And then the joke is, I assume John Goodman hasn't made it that high up yet. John Goodman at the time, fast.
Alive.
He's still alive at the time of this recording.
he?
Now you just doomed him, Rachel.
I'm sorry.
If he dies when right after this episode comes out, I swear to
Sorry,
God.
I was thinking of somebody else. I just realized, yes, he is still alive, but he was very,
He's
very
lost
fat.
much of weight.
He has lost
now,
a lot
though.
of weight. But I
And
think
he
that was
lost-
for his health.
I think it was for his health, but his weight loss made him look older. It was like that weird thing where, like, you
Yeah.
know when you, like, have somebody and they do lose weight and then they just
But later
look,
in
like,
life.
bad?
Yeah.
It, like, looks bad.
It's the saggy skin, I think. I think that's what it is. I
So
don't
they're
know.
trying to figure out what they're supposed to do because now they've been left behind. In the meantime, Steve and Haley are getting their personalized heavens in heaven.
You know, I kind of wish we were able to see Haley's personalized
would have wanted to
heaven.
see
I'm
what
kind of
hers
upset we
is.
didn't. I bet there's a cut scene.
This is before Haley was with Jeff. So Jeff isn't in this episode. He's
Mm-hmm.
not mentioned or anything like that. So like he wouldn't she presumably wouldn't have been with Jeff in the personal heaven. Like if they would have
would've
done that
assumed,
later on, it
yeah.
would have been. The caseworker, the angel that's showing them to their personal heavens, Rachel, is from a previous Christmas episode of American Dad.
Oh.
Yeah, there's
I
an
don't
episode.
remember. It's been a while.
It's like the first Christmas episode that they do where Stan. It's a Wonderful Life, but it's with this angel. And
Yes.
she's trying to get her wings, and she's like terrible at being an angel.
Sure.
Most of the American Dad Christmas episodes, if they don't end with an all-out brawl with Santa, usually end with Stan realizing that he probably should just be nice to his family on Christmas. That's usually the lesson that
Yeah, that makes
Stan learns.
sense.
Steve, who is the nerdy boy of the family, as we have explained, is saying, well, there's so many doors. There's so many personal heavens. How do we know which one is, like, how do you know that, like, this is really the right heaven? And as he says that, his door opens up, and there's a bodacious blonde riding
Like an
unicorn.
Amazonian woman
Yes,
on a
she's like
unicorn.
an Amazon. You're right, yeah.
And then
On
the unicorn poops out burgers
a big pile of hamburgers.
and then walks away.
And Steve goes, pepper jack cheese. It's my heaven, all right.
And then eats. I do love the fact that Haley looks
Kind of
grossed out.
disgusted, yeah.
Yes. That feels right.
I think that seems like a good heaven, though. Like, I can picture what it was in my mind, and it seems like a pretty nice place.
It's gotta be like a really like
It's like a jungle-ish
yeah.
type environment.
I'm thinking like meadow, like foresty meadow.
There's these
with
unicorns. They're pooping out
I
pepper
bet
jack
I bet like the water
cheeseburgers.
is like Mountain Dew for him or something.
Probably Mountain Dew.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. His friends are there,
Oh, absolutely.
and they're like, they get to play.
And they're all wearing like Adam and Eve like leaves
Yes,
and stuff.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They play like very elaborate, like World of Warcraft.
Oh yeah,
games and
absolutely.
stuff.
I was thinking Dungeons and Dragons, World of
Yeah.
Warcraft. Mm-hmm.
Haley's is there's a giant weed field,
Yes,
giant marijuana field.
probably.
Everything is like
Very
it's like
peaceful.
it's like a commune.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a commune. Absolutely. Mhm.
100%.
Yeah.
Maybe her family is also there, but definitely a commune.
But the Haley version of her family.
That's right. Yes, they're all very, very liberal.
flower children.
Mhm.
Yes.
Very, very hippie.
Mm-hmm.
What would yours be, Rachel? If you got raptured, what would be in your personal heaven?
That's a heavy question.
Yeah, I know. We have to ask.
guess-
this is a very heavy episode.
Oof. Well, we'd have to have lots of shelves for all of the things,
Mhm,
you know.
mhm.
We'd have lots of yarn,
Sure.
bread, as far as the eye can see, and coffee would be flowing through my rivers.
There you go.
We'll say that.
Yeah.
I'll go with it.
I think mine would just be. I mean, I have a big theater.
Oh
of
yeah.
course.
Mhm.
And then I don't know. That is a heavy question.
It's too heavy. I had to make it silly because I'm like
for
that's
me,
too
it
much.
is just like I just want to like I would if I've got my druthers and there is an afterlife and I get to enjoy it. It really would just be let me just go exploring. I'm just gonna.
I
walk
want to
around.
explore.
I want to watch.
I'm a
everything.
wanderer.
I want
Yeah.
to read everything. I want to know all the
Yes.
stories.
Yes.
So that I'd have a big Beauty and the Beast book library.
Oh, I would love
Never
that.
ending, like a big
Gorgeous.
Alexandria library type
Yes.
thing.
Oh,
yeah.
wait till we get to Silence in the Library. Doctor
Silence
Who.
of the Library.
It's an episode of Doctor Who.
Gotcha.
It's like a world of just a library.
There you go.
beautiful.
That's Rachel's heaven.
Yes. Not that one, but yes. You'll understand later.
We come back and it is now nighttime. Stan and Francine are watching the news. We learn their neighbors were the news team.
Yes.
They were the gay married news team. One of them is gone.
One of them is raptured. Greg was raptured.
Greg got raptured. He says that 142 million have been raptured. So not really a big number when you think about the fact that there are 7 billion people. So
Yeah, it seems
most
low.
of the people have been left behind.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the movie or the HBO show
Left Behind?
The Leftovers. There's one called The Leftovers.
Oh, I thought
where
there was one also called Left Behind.
There is also one called Left Behind, but apparently The Leftovers is much better than Left Behind. It's such a good concept. I wish it wasn't so like we have to be tiptoeing around like how religious it is, because I feel like it could be pretty cool.
I feel like it could be a fun story. Religion aside, the story is so super interesting.
But like the one that you're thinking of is like a Kirk Cameron.
Isn't it like a goofy, like it sucks?
Yeah, like it's supposed to be like
It's really
notoriously
cringy.
bad. Yeah.
Okay, but then so this one is like
This one
apparently supposed to be
is like
better.
1% of the population was either raptured or there's a pandemic. I can't remember. I've never
Okay.
seen it. But like I know like the premise of it,
Yeah.
and people say it's pretty good, but it's very, very dour.
Oh, I would kind of assume.
So like even 142 million, like it was like during COVID, right? Like when we're like it's only 1% of the population. It's like, well, think about
That's
it. Like
still
that
a
would
lot.
cause devastation if like that amount of
Absolutely.
people were like suddenly gone. So Terry is left behind, and he's talking about how the 142 million were taken, and he also adds in, I think, a pretty funny line. He goes, apparently God does love gays, but only if they're tops.
Oh, poor Terry.
Francine says at least that they've been left behind together, like they can at least spend the final days like while they're
Right.
like alone
Well,
together.
7
Now,
years.
at least Francine is like, I guess, optimistic
She's
about
trying to be
this.
optimistic because at least they're together and
Yeah.
they're not like one of them is alone and sad. And
I do get Stan and Roger's freaking out about this though,
Yes.
because like they know what this means and they're like freaking out. And Francine always,
She
because
knows
she's
what
got
it
that
means,
little
too, but she's
ditzy
just
optimism.
yeah. She's just trying to look at it as she's not alone.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That she's not alone. Like, what if you would
he
have been
was?
raptured?
And then
yeah,
what? Are you just happy that I'm
that
stuck
I would have
here?
been left here. Yeah, exactly.
That would be so awful.
Right. And Stan is so depressed about this. Roger comes in and he's trying to figure out where all of his spare spacecraft parts are because he's just never bothered to repair the spaceship because he
Yeah, he
likes
could
being with
have.
the Smiths, and he
Right.
could have. But he can't find all of the spare parts, so now he's trying to find them so that he can get the hell off of
And
this
just
planet
leave.
because he's like, I'm just gonna get out of here.
Right. Which is a
But-
good thought. Is it also happening on other planets?
Well, based on what Jesus says later on,
Yeah.
it doesn't sound like it.
that this was like okay.
You know?
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that.
Yeah. So,
But he only
Ro-
finds Hard Rock shirts.
various Hard Rock Cafe T-shirts, and Francine tells him that she must have mixed up the boxes that went to Goodwill, and she must have accidentally sent the spaceship parts to Goodwill. And
Right.
Roger goes, "Oh well, at least there's a good explanation." I love this
Yes.
line. I kept saying it to you after we
You
watched the
did.
show because it's just funny.
My spaceship so I can get off this planet, but all my boxes of spare parts are full of Hard Rock Cafe sweatshirts.
Oops. There must have been a mix-up when I gave stuff to Goodwill.
Oh, okay. Well, as long as there's a good explanation. Ah! Didn't you hear the puppets? Demons are coming to rape our skulls.
And then the follow-up joke to that is good too because Terry is on the news saying that Jesus is here and that he's announced that his second coming is here. And Stan goes, "Francine, shut up. I want to hear this."
Yes,
or
and she's
Francine,
just-
shush, I want to hear this. And she's being choked.
Being choked.
Very good joke. Very good line. I don't know why I love that line so much, but I just love, didn't you hear the puppets? Demons are coming to rape our skulls. It's
so good.
It's because it's like the
It's so
juxtaposition of the
ridiculous.
little kid
Didn't you
puppet
hear
show,
the puppets?
but like Roger interpreted it as we're going to be skull fucked by demons.
That's right.
I need to get off of this planet. Jesus is going to brief them at the arena. Why in Langley Falls of all places? Like that should have been the first
yeah, that should have
hint.
told you something. I mean, honestly, but then he's.
Well, he does show up
Yeah.
in Langley Falls too.
I don't know why.
But it's all predetermined. It's like it's all
it was all
destiny. So you like
destined,
have
yeah.
to. That's like.
But
that's
Jesus
where-
isn't like Jesus Christ. Like he's not like a big showman.
I think that's supposed to be part of it too, right? Where, so like the Antichrist is supposed to be like not like subtle about it. Like he gets popular and like people like follow him and stuff.
Absolutely.
And I thought like you're supposed to like try to find Jesus. Like he is there and he like announces himself like eventually, but it's only
Yes.
after the Antichrist comes into power and
Right.
things like that.
He's more subtle about the things that he does because
Yeah.
he's supposed
Which
to be humble.
fits.
He's supposed to be humble. Is the
Yeah.
whole idea.
Stay humble. Jesus
Stay
is
humble.
humble. And he is in this episode as well.
He is.
Because we don't know what happened. Well, we'll get there. Because like between now when he announces himself, I'm saying it anyway, folks. When he like announces himself to when we go to the future,
Yes.
you don't really know, and then you find out more.
Mm-hmm.
Stan and Francine go to the arena to find and talk to Jesus, and somehow, I assume through his CIA methods or his connections, Stan has gotten to Jesus's
Dressing room.
dressing room.
My assumption is he just kept flashing a badge.
Okay.
That's all he has to do.
I think that's fine. Yeah, he's a CIA operative. He's a spy and stuff.
Right.
I think that makes sense. I do like the little touch on Jesus's dressing room. It's the Star of David instead of just like a regular star.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right.
It's those little
Just a little
thing-
nod right
Those
there.
are like the little things that I feel like American Dad does pretty well. Like those little production touches, especially in this episode. I think that they do so good with like the design of everything.
It's very well thought out.
Yeah. Knock on his door, and a Jesus-looking man answers. He has the prototypical Jesus look. He has the beard. He's got the hair. He's wearing an all-white suit.
I don't know if that's yeah, because
that would make sense.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah. And he has a very soft-spoken voice, and Stan is telling him that he thinks that there's been a mistake because he wasn't raptured. And Jesus tells him, I'm sorry, Stan, but what is done is done. Stan goes on a rant about how he thinks the only reason that he wasn't raptured was because of the sex in the church. And he says that, like, well, I'm not going to let my wife's moral fallings, like, be the reason that...
Yeah, because he's like, it's her fault. I didn't do it. He
sells
seduced
Francine
me.
out.
It's very Eve gave me the apple.
Yeah, it kind of is. Now that you're mentioning it, Rachel.
It's ridiculous.
That actually makes it better in my eyes that it has that that it can do that connection. Well, because Stan is being very selfish. Again, he
Yes,
wants
he's
to be
being
known as
very
like the
selfish.
best Christian.
Mm-hmm.
So Jesus tells him, you know what, Stan? You're right. And Francine is like, wait, what? Jesus is like, yeah, I mean, I guess we can do this. And Stan does. You want to say the line, Rachel?
Was it Suck It World?
Later world.
Oh, it was Later World, Smell My Ass, and then
he,
slaps his butt.
Yeah, smell my ass. And Francine is like, yeah, it comes back. That's why I needed to make you do it. So Francine is like, wait, you're just going to abandon me
Yes.
to Armageddon? And Stan says, like, well, I'll tell you what. I'll go up there. I'll get my hand stamped into heaven. He just assumes it's like a club.
He does. He's like, let me just get my wristband. Like, come on.
And then I'll come out. I'll stamp or I'll press up against your hand, and then you'll be able to come in. It'll just be like Cabo Wabo. Oh, wait, that didn't work. You've spent the entire night in the bus. So you understand that he's been doing this kind of stuff to Francine forever.
Yes.
Francine storms off. She's pissed off, and she says, "You know what, Stan Smith? We're through." Throws her wedding ring.
I mean,
back at
technically
him.
it was until death, and if he's being raptured, right?
That's true. Tells Stan to go to heaven and leaves. She goes to a diner that's near the arena despite the murders, but I guess because it was close by and she was just like hungry, she just goes.
Well, I mean,
guess it's just
you
like
just were told by your husband that he's going to leave you behind to suffer the Armageddon alone.
Yeah.
And you said, screw you then. Here's my wedding ring. Now we're like pretty much not together anymore, period.
Right.
She just needs some coffee and some comfort food.
Yeah,
You
you're
go to a
right.
diner.
The bacon and eggs and stuff look pretty good.
That's right.
She runs into a very charming man. They have a little meet cute moment
it's
where
like
they both are
it's
trying to
like a
grab the
very-
creamer.
He's a very Hallmark man.
He does look like he's straight out of a Hallmark movie.
Yeah.
You're right. Yes, this could be a Hallmark
Clean
Christmas movie.
shaven,
Mm-hmm.
You know, the scarf and
Yeah.
the jacket. He's
He
reading
does
a
look
book
like a
at a
Hallmark
diner.
movie. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for no reason, he's wearing a book at the diner. He went to the arena
Yeah,
first.
he also
and
went
maybe
to it.
he realized it wasn't like... I'm trying to figure out when we find out who this is, why he would have went, but maybe it was just to see if people were calling out
If
a
they were
false
calling
prophet,
out to him, yes.
so that he could, like, maybe he's just kind of getting a lay of the land
I
or
think that
something.
might be what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like saying the same things and completing
Yeah.
each other's sentences
Yeah.
and giggling and
This guy asks him if he went there with her boyfriend. And she says, no, I have a husband, but that's over. He left me. Which the way that she says it could have been also interpreted that he got raptured.
yes. And now she's left behind.
Mhm. This guy says, well, I hope wherever he is or whatever made him leave, it was worth it.
Yeah,
So it's like another like Hallmark kind of moment there.
it is.
And we cut back to Stan and
And,
Jesus,
You know, yeah,
quote
unquote Jesus.
And Jesus
Back
has
alley Jesus.
taken
Literally in
Stan
a back
out-
alley. Back alley Jesus. Let's go.
Takes Stan out to the alley, and he says, "Take off your clothes." And Stan's like, "Oh, I thought they came off magically." And Stan starts to get undressed, and then the Jesus takes his pants off.
Yep.
And just stands there, and Stan goes, "You're not really Jesus, are you?" And then that's the cut.
Yep.
So Stan figured it out.
This guy's just a creep.
That would happen so much.
Oh my god, everybody would be saying
If
they're
the Rapture
Jesus.
happened.
Everybody would be doing it just so they could be popular.
It
And
would
why
be
would you want
outrageous.
that? Why would you want that? Because if demons are
What do you
coming to
mean?
Earth and
Oh,
you're
they'd
calling
be
yourself
targeting you?
Jesus, everybody would be targeted that's calling themselves Jesus.
That's a fair point, Rachel. I
People
feel
would
like
be
the
being
people that would
murdered
do
left and
that
right.
would not think ahead.
Heads on stakes of everybody who said they were Jesus.
Actually, yeah, that's probably true. Yeah.
They're not
That's
going
what
back
I mean,
to
hell,
heaven.
that's what happened to Jesus. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Roger calls about the spaceship at Goodwill again, and they can't find it. And he's like, "Well, find it again." he's so nervous about all this. Francine is leaving,
Yeah, she's packing up.
and Francine is like, because you realize that wasn't the real Jesus. And Stan goes, "Huh, I don't know what you're talking about. Next, you'll say that I let him bend me over a dumpster before I came to my
Oh
senses."
my god.
Which I don't think that's what happened, but maybe the guy convinced him to give it another try before he really
Like he's
got
like, no,
out
no,
of there.
no, seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's probably what happened.
Francine is like, "I found the real Jesus," and one of my favorite moments. This is an interesting episode of Shelf Life, folks, because I don't want to give away what I think about it at the end, but I do watch
It's
this.
fine,
I do
just
watch this like every
Screw it,
single
it's
year.
fine.
The man that Francine met at the diner emerges from their pool because the snow is like
Swimming-
kind of melty.
I guess he was just swimming in
Or it's
the middle
Jesus.
of winter and he
Yeah,
doesn't get cold.
He doesn't care. He's fucking
The
Jesus.
cold never bothered him anyways.
Jesus, bro.
That's right. But
He
he emerges from the
emerges
middle of the pool.
Like Phoebe Cates in Ridgemont High, like emerges, like that's what they're alluding to. But he does it, yes, from the middle of the pool, and then walks.
he's wearing a red banana hammock.
and he's like shredded, like he has
Oh,
like
hell
abs
yeah.
and stuff.
Yep.
And he's walking across the pool, and I have to like stop smiling so that I can do it properly, because he goes, as he's doing this, there's a music beat, and it goes, "He turned water into fine." It's one of my favorite things in this world.
It's
Is
so
that
ridiculous.
scene of him emerging from the water and walking across it in his
With
banana
that.
hammock.
That is all we needed.
He turned water into fine.
You're the real Jesus.
Hi, Stan.
Quite frankly, if the entire episode was boiled down to just that, I might have to give it shelf life. Stan is like, "Oh my god, you actually are Jesus," because he sees him walk across
He's walking
the
on water.
And Francine is like, "Jesus told me that he wants me to be his girlfriend. He can
Yes.
date this time." Like- so Francine is like, "See, Stan, like Jesus thinks that I'm good enough for him, but you
Yes.
didn't think that I was good enough for you."
Right.
So she's being very indignant about it, and Jesus and Francine walk away together with hand in hand. Go ahead, Rachel, because I know that you like this joke.
This was such a stupid joke.
Stupid or amazing?
So Jesus and Francine leave, and as they leave, Roger goes, "Oh no!"
No, first he gasps.
Oh, he
goes,
gasps. My bad. He gasps, and then he goes, "I dropped my meatball in the pool." It's just because he's not gasping that Francine and Jesus are leaving together. He's gasping.
Nor was he in the scene
At
at
all.
all.
He just
before
walked
this.
in on the scene with a meatball and then drops it in the pool.
I dropped my meatball in the pool.
That's it.
I do like that Francine tells Stan, "Have a nice Armageddon,"
Yes.
as they leave too.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the first two acts, which I think only take up like the first 10 or 12 minutes of the episode.
Yeah,
The third act starts with 7 years later.
that's right.
We're in the future.
It's Mad Max.
It's Armageddon. It's Mad Max. The
Mhm.
sky is like red, and like all the
It's very
buildings are
dusty
dilapidated.
feeling.
The production design I love about
dark.
this act. There's even the music is that dun, 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 dun. It's like that. It's like dystopian like movie music. It looks like an 80s B movie.
It's great.
I love dystopian apocalyptic
they're
stuff
so
like this.
fun.
Especially like cheap B movie ones where like they just like buy a warehouse district and stuff. The Mad Max movies we've talked about are on the list. We'll have to cover them at some point.
Oh yeah, that'll be an interesting one.
It's just in my wheelhouse, this type of design and stuff.
We grew up on dystopians.
Yeah.
I love a good dystopian.
And the way that they designed this, especially for just one act of your TV show, is so fun.
Is the moon cracked in half?
I think so.
Why?
I think the moon is supposed to be cracked in half. Well, because it's like total chaos. So like they're just showing you like everything is like burnt out. There's bodies on pikes, like you said, Rachel. Yeah.
You can tell people tried to fight back, but I mean they're freaking demons.
Yeah, there's armies and stuff. Yeah, there's a motorcycle like going through the highway. We end up in Denver. We get to this little bar, and you see somebody get off of the motorcycle, and they have a little cross on like their ankle, but they're dressed like Aragorn from Lord of the Rings.
He is Ryder right now. This person.
Stan is at the bar. Rachel, would you like to explain the new design for Stan in the dystopian future?
Sure.
Because he's very clean cut. He's always wearing a suit in the regular American Dad
That's
episodes.
right.
What does he look like now?
So he has 10 o'clock. He has 5 o'clock shadow.
I like 10 o'clock shadow.
Definitely, it's darker than 5 o'clock. So he has 10 o'clock shadow. He has that little like beard tuft under the lip.
Yeah, like a little devil goatee.
He's got longer hair. It's graying on the sides. He has I think he must be blind in that eye because his one eye has the cut over it and it's like milky.
Yeah.
And he also has a hook for a hand.
That's right. Because he's been through the wars. He's
been through it. This is 7 years.
And he's wearing like Mad Max-ish football pad armor type stuff,
like a
too.
vest type of thing, and like gloves and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Which is interesting because in one episode you find out that Stan wears like a toupee, so like it doesn't make sense that he would have longer hair.
He just found a
wig
wig so that it would actually go with the look.
Yeah, but I really like the design of
toupee.
The design of.
I don't think I've seen that episode.
Yeah, there is. I can't remember when. An amazing joke here because
this was great. I did like this joke.
Jesus pulls his hood down and says hello. He looks more like the Jesus now.
Oh,
like
yes.
a rugged. He's got the
Jesus.
beard. Yeah, he does look rugged. Like because the way that the hair is like not straight. It's like kind of poofed up, curled. But like
it's just long.
Yeah, it's long
and wavy.
And Stan says, "What brings you to New Denver, Commander Jesus?"
Commander Jesus. I kind of liked Commander Christ. I kind of wish it was
Commander
that.
Christ would have been better.
Yes.
I think that might also be part of the joke that it's just Commander Jesus instead of Commander Christ.
Oh, because they all probably call him Commander Christ, and he's like, "No, I'm going to call you Jesus."
Oh, I like that. I like that idea,
Yeah,
Rachel.
yeah.
I like that. Like he does it almost mockingly.
Right. He like spits it at him.
Mm-hmm. I like that. He's asked him if he's here on Christmas vacation, so we know it's Christmas time.
That's
so
all right.
There,
all right.
Christmas.
It's 7 years to the day. Whatever. And then he says, "I got you a birthday present."
And he turns around and he just punches Jesus in the face, and in a
Jesus doesn't like move. Right? His face is just to
joke.
the right.
Yes, he turns back and looks at Stan again, and then he like puts his eyebrow up and turns the other cheek.
Yes,
almost mockingly towards Stan.
Oh, he totally was. It was kind of a jerk move, honestly.
So then Stan punches that cheek too, and Jesus goes, "Ow, my other cheek." That's a good joke.
It is.
Really
it's
well
a very
done.
good joke.
Jesus tells Stan that he needs him for a job, and Stan says he won't do anything for this Nazarene anymore. He calls him a Nazarene.
He does.
And Jesus says, "Well, that's just it, Stan. Francine, the Antichrist, got her." And that cuts to where Stan has like made his homestead,
which is very Mad Max style. He's like in a trailer on the top of a cliff.
Yeah, exactly. He just lives in a trailer at the edge of the cliff. In fact, and I didn't notice this, there's a lot of little details.
There's so many great details
in a lot of the scenery and the design.
I kept looking at the scenery because it's so fun to look at.
On the outside of this yard that he's made, he's got barbed wire surrounding it and everything. It says demon killer and notary.
Yes. He's also a notary.
So we kind of find out that Stan has become a gun for hire. If you need something done, he will go kill the demons. But and that makes him kind of like a Mad Max character, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jesus is saying that he can't trust his generals
because somebody's on the inside.
Someone on the
right
inside
now.
has got, which we never find out who that was.
We don't, and I wish there was like more in on
Yeah.
that because it could be so interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like who would that
Who
have
was
been?
on the
That would have been
inside?
a good. I will say, and I'll say it again at the end of this when we're doing this. I really wish that this would have been like an entire hour and a half special.
I'm surprised
Like
it
this
wasn't
should have been
like
a
two-parter,
movie, yeah, or a two-parter, and do an entire half hour in this setting.
where like the first part was before, and then the second part was the entire thing.
Yeah, because this whole thing is it's pretty just it's a good
fun
action
concept.
movie. Yeah.
Poor Klaus hung on the wall.
Klaus is hung on the wall like a trophy.
Yeah, like one of those singing fish.
Exactly. And Stan is polishing demon skulls, so he just kind of keeps a collection of them. Jesus says that like he knows that Stan still loves Francine, because Stan is trying to say like he doesn't really want to fight, for him or anything. He just fights for whoever gives him like money.
Right. Well, keeps him alive because it's not even like money. It's like whatever currency is at this point.
Stan still has the wedding rings around his
We don't
neck,
know it's the
keeps them, like,
wedding
in-
rings,
Oh, well,
but
he
he
does
does
hold-
hold the necklace
Yeah.
that has the wedding rings
You just
on them.
assume.
You kind of assume.
And they make a deal so that if he does do this, if Stan does go along and helps Jesus, that he will rapture Stan, finally.
Yes.
They go on Jesus' motorcycle. They stop at some point because Jesus sees it looks like it's supposed to be like an archangel or something like that, but then
Yeah, it's
Stan
one
is
of
like,
the angels.
you know this guy? And Jesus goes, yeah, my father's Jester. Really funny dude.
I mean, all the angels will be fighting at this point.
Some winged demons come. Stan takes them out with a shotgun. Jesus, it's the last one with a crossbow. It's a literal
literally a
crossbow.
cross. Yeah. It's great.
Because it was like a trap. They're trying to instigate Jesus
Oh,
to like come
absolutely.
get Francine. Like that's the Antichrist
Oh,
plan.
yeah.
It is a
At this
trap.
point, he grabbed her to get him.
It's to
come
lure
him.
Jesus.
Absolutely. It's a lure.
So Stan says we can't go on the open road, it's too dangerous. And Jesus says, well, what if we go through Sector 16? And Stan's like, Sector 16? Well, the perfect man just found the perfect way to die. So they're going back and forth, and Jesus says, well, what do you want to do then? Like, how do you think we're going to get there? And Stan goes, I know a guy. So then we go to
Yeah, cut
Roger.
to anthropology building.
Doesn't that make sense, though? I mean, I don't know what an anthropology building would be, but it makes sense from, like,
no,
it's
I think I
Roger.
understand. Yeah, because he would find parts
irony
from
in
other
that.
people
Yeah.
and things like that too. Yeah, you're right. I'm just thinking that's also where he found like the parts for his ship, like just scraps and stuff.
Yeah, he's looking for scraps, and he's bringing them all back to this place. So Roger is trying to find scraps so that he can get the spaceship made. So it's taken him 7 years
It's taken
to
him
get out of here.
7 years.
He, of course, also has Quilo, his new helper, repairing the ship.
So weird.
Which is also very funny. It almost is like Star Warsian, but it also could easily be a character in one of these like
Yes.
dystopian shows.
Yes.
It's like
There's like a
little
Mad
Asian
Max character
man.
that reminds me
Yeah,
of
it
this.
feels
Mhm.
very dystopian to have this.
Absolutely.
They're arguing because the ship isn't working.
But the stupid thing is that he's saying like my flower isn't in the right corner.
I didn't
of-
understand what
like,
any of that meant. Yeah.
What
of
do
course
you
it's
mean?
Roger, so
Yes.
but it's Roger's alien technology, so like
Right,
maybe
it could
does
actually
work
be
all that
something.
way. Mhm. Jesus and Stan show up, and Stan introduces Roger to Jesus. He's like, Roger, meet Jesus, and this is where Jesus goes, an alien, one of my father's side projects. And Roger takes offense to this and tries to attack Jesus.
Honestly, as he should.
Mm-hmm.
How dare you call me a side project?
So
what if
this
humans
is-
are actually the side project?
Well, I mean, the son of man, or of God, Rachel, was
God could do whatever the hell he wants. He can tell you whatever he wants. Maybe he just told Jesus, yeah, you're the main project.
That's true. You're right. I could definitely see God doing that.
Mm-hmm. And then is like writing notes because he told him that.
Mhm.
Like, how does he react?
So this is where I think maybe the rapture isn't happening in other worlds.
Yeah, but that means so Roger could have just flown away and been okay.
That's what I think.
All right. I mean, it is called Hell on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But we were very Earth-centric when thinking about
extremely Earth-centric.
They ask if they can get chartered onto the spaceship.
Mm-hmm.
And Roger says, well, I can't use the spaceship because this uses like crystalline minerals. So unless you have like some jewel encrusted thing or poop out a gem encrusted gold, we're out of luck. And Jesus takes something out of his bag and he goes, when my army laid siege at the Battle of Boca Raton, they found this. And it's the infinity poo.
It's infinity poo.
I can't remember what the name of it is in American Dad lore, but this thing comes back quite often. Hang on, let me check the wiki because I bet it tells.
I just like the fact that it goes to widescreen.
Yes.
It shrinks to widescreen. Like, no, this is an important thing, and it is a gem encrusted gold pile of poo.
It's just called the golden turd. I like calling it the infinity poo.
I like infinity poo better.
But it starts in the episode Homeland Insecurity. Roger reveals that he poops golden jewel encrusted turds. And then everyone like covets it. It becomes like this thing. But like in reality, it's like the source of power for a ship as well. Mm-hmm. But like it's always like there's episodes that will revolve around it, and then like people are like trying to like take over the world with it and stuff like that. But I do love that they that they use it.
You gotta bring it back. And it's interesting because if Roger's the one that's able to poop this, he must have to eat something specific so he can actually poop this. You know what I mean?
We know that he doesn't really eat like typical, like he should probably.
Right,
either.
That's what I'm thinking. So of course now he's not like creating the proper energy and excrement that needed for the ship.
I do love the way that it goes to widescreen though, as they like get in the ship, and then the music even swells and does like almost like a like it has that feeling to it, and even the way that it rotates around the ship feels way more ambitious than your typical American Dad episode,
right?
And then like shoots off. They get to the Antichrist's lair, which is the United Nations, because of course it
is.
And Roger says that he's going to drop them off at the Antichrist lair, and then he's Armageddon out of there, and thinks that it's a clever enough joke that he should write it down. And as he goes to write down the joke, the ship starts to crash, and it crashes right into the UN building. So Roger can't get the ship to work anymore.
Which, honestly, I'm surprised he doesn't say something like, not again, this is what happened last time. Like he was writing down a stupid joke, and that's why he's on Earth.
Yeah, I do like the joke though, because that always happens in like these type of shows where like they would have gotten into like air fire or something like that, and instead it's just Roger being stupid.
It's just him crashing because he's stupid. Because I mean, there are flying demons. We already knew that.
Yeah, exactly. He asks Jesus if he can be raptured, and Jesus says, "I can't do that. But after this is over, I'm going to need people to help rebuild the world and make it into a paradise, and he could use Roger's help." Roger takes a beat and goes, "That's okay." And this keeps trying to get the spaceship to work. Jesus and Stan go in an elevator, and they take out a bunch of guns and get ready for the battle. And Stan asks Jesus, what does the Antichrist look like? And Jesus tells him, you'll know it when you see him.
Which is the stupidest thing to say.
But when you actually meet the Antichrist, it makes sense.
It makes sense. But, like, you have to be, can you be a little more specific?
Yeah.
Say the Riddler, all right? Yeah, that's what you gotta say. Because otherwise you were looking for an Omen kid, which is what Stan ends up seeing.
The elevator opens, and this creepy Omen-like child is there and turns and looks at them, and Stan blows them away with a shotgun. And Jesus is like, oh no, what are you doing? And he's like, I thought that was the Antichrist. And Jesus is like, no, there's a school nearby, and the kids come to play in here, which is a stupid line.
It's so dumb.
But Stan's reaction to this is fantastic.
And I guess I just picked a whole bouquet of oopsie daisies.
What a line that is.
So ridiculous.
We need to start using that more.
It sounds like something that would have been in Duke Nukem or what is that based on?
Evil Dead.
Evil Dead. It's such an Evil Dead line. An oopsie daisies.
Oopsie daisies. They get to the lair, and Francine is hung in an upside down nativity scene as the baby.
As the baby? Why not as, like, Mary?
Because I could see that, but also, remember, they're trying to lure Jesus. So it's like
I'm rocking your cradle and she's in it type of thing.
Yeah,
I don't know,
like,
something stupid.
or like I'm gonna replace you with her,
But
or
he
her with you. I'm gonna
is-
put you in there and kill you or something like that.
I don't know. She should be Mary Magdalene.
She should be Mary Magdalene. Another great line by Jesus here.
Yes.
So he goes up behind one of the demons that's like guarding Francine and goes, "Kneel before the Lord, punk," and
And then
shoots
he
him
shoots
in
him in the head.
Stan gets to the ceiling by using his grappling hook. He pulls Francine down, and she says, "Oh, Stan, you came." And Stan's like, "Don't get any ideas. I'm just here for the rapture." And Francine's like, "Of course, that's the only thing you ever cared about." They get captured.
Well, hold on, because
Okay.
Jesus also does say, "Hello, darling," and Francine looks annoyed.
Yeah, I want to know why that is. But
I
want
want
to
know some backstory on
maybe
how she's
having
just
to
fed up
be-
with being with Jesus.
Yeah,
because
I bet
he's
it's
Jesus.
I bet it's a pain because
gotta
he's
be.
Jesus. Yeah, and she likes Stan's like dopiness.
I think so.
And like there's no conflict with Jesus. And I
wouldn't
think
be.
that bothers her.
Yeah, he would be that type where she wants to fight because it feels like a
Or
moment to
just
fight.
wants to like
Well, she's like mad about something, so she's like, and
Yeah.
then he's super calm and
Right.
annoyingly like
Yeah.
that
I
would
bet it's
it's
like
gotta
that
drive
kinda
her
thing.
nuts.
Mhm. So they're gonna try to get out of there, but before they can, they get captured in a very Batman 1960s glass case
With a
tube hanging out of it.
Yeah.
And you hear the and it's the Antichrist. Rachel
I don't-
already described the Antichrist. It's just the Riddler from the Batman
It's the
66.
Riddler
He's
in
wearing
red.
He looks like the Noid. He's wearing this big
Yes!
red onesie
It's
outfit.
the Noid and the Riddler had a baby.
Yeah, with upside down crosses all over
Of
it.
course.
A very annoying character. I think purposely.
Oh yes, that's the point. Because Jesus is
even
this like Jesus is this sexy, long-haired, has a like ripped body. You know, is a carpenter, all of that stuff, and he's supposed to be the opposite.
Yes.
Not like in that sense, but that's where they took it.
Yes, absolutely. Because he's the Antichrist.
Right.
yeah. He says, "Condemn them, mother, for they know exactly what they do," or something like
Yes.
that. And
And they all just
they all
stare.
just stare at them, and Stan goes, I don't know. What is
How
that
do you
supposed to
not
mean?"
get that like immediately? I got it immediately, guys. Come on.
Yeah, and this is where he explains his gimmick, where he's supposed to be the opposite in every way. So he tells Jesus, "Well, Jesus, you can walk on water, eh? But can you swim in land?" And then fills up the glass container with sand, and it fills up like super quickly.
Oh yeah. And it breaks.
And it breaks immediately.
And he goes, "I'm not a carpenter." And it's like, are you serious right now?
Yeah, it's so goofy and stupid. A shootout starts, and Stan shoots down the nativity scene and kills a couple of the demons that are
Right.
with the Antichrist. And he says, "It's raining wise men. Hallelujah." And Francine laughs at the joke.
Yes.
So then Jesus, I think out of like some little jealousy, like goes and he
Absolutely.
runs toward Antichrist, and then he chokes him out via his thighs. He does like a thigh choke. He like goes on his back and chokes him out. And he says, "You should have known, Auntie, with me." And he puts sunglasses on and goes, "The thigh's the limit."
And then Francie goes,
Funny. Auntie goes to shoot Jesus because he wasn't actually dead. And Stan pushes Jesus out of the way and takes the bullet himself.
Yes.
And then Jesus throws a cross shrieking into Auntie's head. So he actually kills the Antichrist and says, "What?"
Later, world. Smell my ass.
The first time I saw this, Rachel, I only saw the third act. I didn't see the first act. Like, I didn't see the entire episode.
So you didn't
And I
get
was
the
just like,
callback.
Why? Why does he
Yes.
say that?
I mean, there's
I
still
didn't-
no reason for either of them to say it, but
No, but at least there is a callback.
yes.
Stan.
Oh, he does screech like he's a.
Oh yeah, he screeches like a demon
so
too. He like,
awful.
yeah. Stan took the bullet for Francine.
Yeah, not for Jesus.
Yeah, so that she could stay with Jesus.
Well, so
'cause-
she could be happy.
Yeah, because he's like, I'm not the man I was back then, and I was, should have been better to you, and I should have thought about your feelings and stuff like that. He can't change the man that he was, so he says that she deserves the best. Fancy feast. They're like, what? And she's like, I meant Jesus. I'm kind of bleeding out.
Yeah, right. He's a little delusional.
They see the wedding rings, so this is the reveal because they open up the chest to kind of try to stop the bleeding, and the wedding rings are there.
But they are trying to blow this place up, so they got to get the hell out of there.
And Francine's like, I can't leave you behind, and he goes, he even has like the badass like action line of being like, I know, get her out of here. He tells Jesus. They kiss. Francine kisses Stan.
Goodbye.
Jesus offers to rapture Stan, but Stan is like, you can't. The spell takes too long. And Jesus goes, he's right. Just like, but you could see a world where Stan tries to find all of the, like, a magical way to do it himself.
Yes, right.
So, like, he could know that.
He has to get, like, all the pieces of something, and he can ascend.
Francine and Jesus get away. Stan takes out a cigar and goes, Merry Christmas, Mr. and Mrs. Jesus. So again, it's Christmas.
All right.
Yeah.
Fine.
I'm making Rachel concede that point. So that,
I mean, it's Christmas, but it's not Christmas. It's just Christmas. It's the day.
Yes. You're saying it doesn't have a very Christmas feel.
That's right.
It doesn't feel like Christmas.
It doesn't feel like Christmas, but it's the date of Christmas.
The bomb implodes and the UN is destroyed, and we cut to heaven where Stan is with the angel that was there before his caseworker. He always thought that he would get to spend eternity with Francine. He's very upset about this.
I mean, you didn't think about that at the beginning of the episode.
That's right.
You ass.
Yeah, exactly. But he's learned now, Rachel. He learned that what's really important to him is that he would have gotten to stay with Francine.
Yeah.
And she tells him that, like, Stan, this is your personal heaven. It's what your heart most desires.
Mm-hmm.
And she lets him in, and we're back to the beginning of the episode. It's the same Christmas morning. The same thing is happening that was before. And Francine walks down the stairs and goes, how do I look? And Stan goes, definitely not like a whore, baby. Definitely not like a whore. And they hug.
Yeah.
And it pans over, and Klaus
he
is
just did
still
not
on the
want
wall.
him to be alive. He's like, you know what? I really don't want Klaus to be alive in my heart, so he's dead.
Yeah, that Klaus is still not around for this. Joy to the World plays, and that is the end of the episode.
You know, I always wonder. Stan
Go
is
ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, Stan
this is a good
Stan is in
conversation.
heaven
Yep.
with his family.
Mhm.
So Francine stays with Jesus on Earth.
That's right.
And she's already annoyed with him. You know, you can tell that there's some problems there.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering now that there's going to be like heaven on Earth as well, like
Yeah.
a peaceful time that has to be rebuilt.
Yeah.
Is she going to be happy? Is she going to stay with Jesus?
I kind of wonder if she's going to ask Jesus to rapture her so that she can meet with Stan.
Interesting.
And Jesus is going to
He's going to
say,
he's going
okay.
to say yes
Yeah.
because
That's what I think would happen if this was
he
a movie.
understands.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like
I
it
could see
could've-
that. And it's
like,
actually Francine. It's not just
An
his
alternate-
heart. And she comes down the stairs and goes,
she comes
it's
down
really
the stairs
me.
and it's me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could have been an alternate ending.
Yeah.
That would have actually been really nice.
I
Again,
told Jesus
if
to
this would have
rapture
been,
me because I wanted to be with
if
you.
this
and the
would have been
kid.
an hour-long episode, they could have done that, and that would have been
Absolutely.
actually really nice.
Yeah.
I would have liked that ending.
Mhm.
And then the kids come over.
Yes. Yeah,
and, like,
it's not them.
Steve comes over on a unicorn.
Yes. And so there's Steve, and then
Yeah.
there's Steve on a unicorn.
Even Roger's there, like, because Stan.
No,
the
Roger
interesting,
probably would stay on.
The
Earth.
interesting thing about it is people have debated, like, does that mean that the rest of the series gets goofier and crazier because it's Stan's heaven?
Oh.
So you're in Stan's heaven where anything can
It's an
happen as long
interesting
as he's with his
thought.
family.
Hmm.
It's possible.
That's a
I've also
possibility.
seen people say, like, well, yeah, but there's other alternative futures that always happen too when the
Right.
kids grow up and some of them and stuff happens. So this is probably non-canon, but I do like your idea, Rachel, where it's
Yeah.
like, you know, she would have gone up there at the end too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to believe that it's non-canon. It's American Dad. Anything can happen. Nothing really
Oh, sure.
matters.
Yes.
But I could also be okay with the idea that, like, Stan's heaven is just his life. Like, he's
Being
fine
with
with it as
his
long as he's
people.
with his family. So he's just going to repeat whatever he would have if the rapture didn't happen.
Absolutely.
So it doesn't matter if it's heaven
It's
or
like
not.
just an everyday thing
it's
for him.
It's with his family, yeah. And they forgot that the rapture happened.
Yes.
Rachel, we've gone through Rapture's Delight, our first episode of American Dad. We'll do more because, like I said, American Dad has very, very highs and very, very lows. So we'll probably end up doing some American Dad episodes here and there. I prevented us from doing an American Dad episode for Halloween because I was like, you know,
I
what?
watched it anyways.
And Rachel made Rachel watch it anyway. But I was like, let's do Rapture's Delight. Let's do a Christmas one because American Dad's got some good Christmas stuff. Rachel, does Rapture's Delight have holiday shelf life?
Holiday shelf life.
Or shelf life in general. You can.
I mean,
also
do you
say
want
that.
me? You want me to go first on this?
I can go first because this is.
We all know
was
your
my
answer,
selection.
so go ahead. You go first.
This is a near masterpiece. This is legitimately one of my favorite episodes of television. I love this episode. I don't know why. It's just because the jokes are good, but just the design of the Rapture itself, the Armageddon world, I really, really love. It just ends so dumbly with like the fight and stuff, and it's just quick-witted. I like the Commander Christ Jesus style and everything. It just fits for me. This is one of my favorite episodes of American Dad. And like I said, television. I try to watch this one pretty frequently on Christmas. The only things about it, and very much like my Halloween choice, where the third act is so much better than the first two acts with Modern Family.
Yes.
I feel the same way about this. Where
Well,
you needed that setup, but I really wish that there was
setup.
more in the
in
the post-apocalypse.
Right. Well, there's so much story that you could have done with the post-apocalypse.
And that's kind of what, and I guess maybe that's what I also like, because it's like, God, there was so much we could have done. I really wish that it would have been longer. And then who knows, it might have dragged or whatever. But I really wish this one would have been longer. This absolutely is on the shelf for me. It has shelf life.
It has Christmas shelf life.
Yeah, it does. But you have to like this type of humor. I'm gonna throw that out there. American Dad humor is crude, it's rude, it's vulgar, it's bloody and violent and stupid. And you have to enjoy that to enjoy it. But for me, it fits my wheelhouse. It has shelf life.
Okay. So for me.
So.
It's witty, it's quippy, it's stupid, but it's also fun. And it's got that little bit of action. It's got the fun dystopian.
It has
the story
that down. It has that dystopian feeling down really well.
The story is very fun. Would I call this a Christmas movie? Or I'm sorry, that's not a movie. Would I call this a Christmas show? Does this necessarily need to be watched on Christmas? For me, no. But I like this episode and it has shelf life. But Christmas shelf life. I mean, I guess if you're going for like the darker side of Christmas, then yes.
Sure.
But I wouldn't call this like that light and like, oh, you want to have that heartwarming feeling.
No, it's
Christmas.
not heartwarming.
Absolutely
feeling,
not.
No.
But this is like silly, dark side of Christmas.
Yeah.
So it's fun, and I think it does have shelf life because it is very fun.
How about that?
But it's probably not going to be like, I'm not going to watch it for Christmas.
Rachel will watch
watch
it, but she
it.
won't watch it for Christmas.
Yeah.
I watch it for Christmas.
Yeah.
Like I wait till December to watch this one.
It's just another episode for me.
Merry Christmas, Mr. and Mrs. Jesus. So that was Rapture's Delight, the 9th episode of the 5th season of American Dad. Rachel, cross that off the list. I am surprised. It is on the shelf for both of us.
Why? It's fun.
It's a fun episode. It is fun.
I know.
It's very fun. Like, even if you don't necessarily like all the humor, it's fun.
Well, this is one of those episodes I like. There's a lot of these where I'm just like, you take it too far, and I'm like, I don't like it.
There are some that are bad, but we're gonna revisit the Majestic, the one where Jeff's trying to get back to Earth. That's a great episode.
I remember that. Yeah.
There's
some
great,
really
there's
gross
very bad.
and stupid.
B12
and
when Steve becomes a part of the boy band. That song is really good. Coming up next, after a break, I am going to go get some cookies and stuff.
Yes.
Because I really could use some cookies right now.
I agree.
When we come back, yes, Mikey, Santa does shave. An episode of Recess. After the break.
I bet you want a sun camera for Christmas. Well, ask for it. You won't break anyone. It's only $39.95. It's the first Christmas you can get one for that. A real sun camera, too. A piece of the sun to turn bad light into good pictures. And now, the richer colors of our new 600-speed film. Red are reds and blue are blues, and you see them in seconds. That's why Polaroid pictures make such a difference on Christmas.
How do you know what they want for Christmas?
I even know who's been good and who's been bad.
Ding dun 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 dun. Dun dun. Boom. Are we on? Are we live?
Yeah, we're live.
Oh, okay.
Speed.
I'm dreaming of a white Christmas.
Should I have a brandy
We
with this one?
huh?
I feel like I have to have a brandy with this
Yeah,
one.
didn't you grab one? Oh, you're on break.
Eggnog. And
We-
cookies.
Yeah, the eggnog. That's fine. I got cookies.
Yeah.
We are back, boys and girls. This is not a Saturday morning shelf
Feels
life,
like it should be.
but it kind of feels like it. Shelf life.
Saturday morning.
Saturday morning. Shelf life. No, it's
Christmas.
actually our holiday extravaganza. Yay! And we're back with the second half of the holiday extravaganza. Rachel, just to remind the folks what we are doing for the second half of the holiday extravaganza, if they forgot in the last hour when we were talking about American Dad, what is up for contention for the shelf in this segment?
We are going to be talking about season 2, episode 10 of Recess. Yes, Mikey, Santa does shave.
Yes, we've done a Recess episode before, so we don't have to go over the
No.
background or history of Recess. Folks at home, if you did not listen to that episode or you would like to, you check the back catalog. It's in there somewhere under Saturday Morning Shelf Life. Recess. Deal with it. Volume 4? Is that when we did that one?
I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rachel, your history with this potential episode or this particular episode, do you remember it? And of course of what happens in this one?
I remember parts of the episode.
Mm.
I don't know if I remembered it as a whole until we actually watched it.
You knew that there was a Christmas episode,
Yes.
though, because you were like, why don't we do Recess? And we only remembered it for one particular reason.
Ho. Ho. Ho.
It's Robert Goulet as Mikey
Yes.
singing, ho, ho, ho. Ah.
So ridiculous.
So
So ridiculous.
we were like, what episode is that even?
And then we had to just put it on the list
Yeah.
for today's Christmas.
Yeah.
That had to happen.
I'm sure we watched it as kids.
Oh yes, of course.
One thing I looked at when I looked at the wiki was that this doesn't re-air a lot. This isn't in syndication a ton because they put it with something else to make a Christmas movie or just really a series of like
Interesting. Yes.
vignettes or whatever.
Okay.
And I guess then they just include this as part of that.
Interesting. I guess
Yeah.
that kind of makes sense. What happens is Mikey is a huge believer of Santa Claus.
Of Jesus Christ. Okay, admit this though. Between all of our Christmas episodes this year, Christmas Story,
Yes.
American Dad,
Yes.
and this one,
Yes.
American Dad is the least secular. It's the most religious one.
Well, yeah, of course it is.
They don't mention Jesus one time in Christmas Story. They've got him
That's
in
true.
American Dad.
That's very true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they don't go
Christmas
to church.
Story doesn't. They're like, no.
No
Christmas is
religion.
about presents and having a day
Family
off.
and
yeah.
a day off.
Yeah.
And food.
Jesus is nowhere seen in that.
No.
And this, of course, not either, because this is a show for kids, and you're trying to keep all of those political correct, jingle-brained political correctoids out of it, as they say.
Understandable.
Just
Understandable.
throwing that out there. I'm just
yeah,
throwing
yeah,
that out
no,
there.
no, that's fine. It's fine.
But yes,
But yes, Mikey is
Santa.
huge believer of Santa.
Mhm.
Loves Santa.
Loves him.
You know, and
Huge fan that Mikey.
Huge fan.
Big bulging boy.
Yes. Well, you know, it's body positivity. You know, as he says.
That's a great line.
But on the playground, he's being told Santa's not real.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And in this episode, we follow Mikey trying to prove the belief in Santa and Santa being real himself, and Mikey coming into his own as a Santa for the play.
The side plot.
Yeah, that's the
Like
it's
the
kind
thing
of a
that's-
side plot.
The thing that's driving the narrative is that this guy has shown up
yes
to do like they're going to put on a Christmas play,
yes
as you do when you're a kid in
Of
the
course.
United States. Also, then being
broadcasted
broadcast globally,
global broadcast.
according
What
to
is
this
Scrooge?
according to this guy, according to this whatever
This weird
Mr.
reporter
Bream.
person. Yeah.
He's a television producer, and they're doing like a Christmas special where I think they're just going from like
I think they're going from school to
different
school and just
schools.
showing them on
Yeah.
TV. Yeah.
So like when he tells Prickly like 5 billion people are gonna watch, it's like no one's gonna watch this.
this is like
This
the
is-
little television station.
Yeah.
It's just going to be highlights from each one.
Well, I don't think it's a little television. I do think it's
Oh, it is like a
global.
big one?
Well, like Dick Clark is there.
Oh, well, then
on
maybe,
it.
maybe.
So I do think it's big, but I think that they're just going to be like a little segment.
Yeah, like little snippets from each
Yeah.
one.
And I have a feeling
played.
that Mr. Bream is just some low-level
He just
producer.
looks like so scummy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like playing it up, and this is actually like a bigger, way larger thing. And this
Yeah.
was like the United States' contribution was
Right.
Prickly's 3rd Street School.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
We'll
yes.
get more into that, but Kevin wanted to apparently, go super detailed into what's happening in this
well,
episode.
you do it now, you don't have to do it later. That's the idea. They're putting on the school play as well, and then Mikey is supposed to be Santa in the play.
Mhm. He's
and-
fighting with his belief of Santa.
That's right. Yeah, his belief. It's a really religious experience.
Yeah,
for
it
Mikey.
is. It is.
So let's get right into it. This is it's such an odd title
Just
it
say
just should
Santa
be
Shaves.
Santa Shaves.
Just say Santa
That's
Shaves.
all.
That's how
the
I'm going to
episode
call
should be
it. That's what I
called.
called at the beginning. That's what it is.
Yes, Mikey Santa Does Shave. Aired on December 26th, 1998. So it actually aired the day after
Boxing
Christmas.
Day.
There's a reason for that too.
It was
I
a
wish
Boxing
I could
Day special
find out
for when kids are
why.
playing games and they need the TV on and they're just hanging out and
There was a reason why it got delayed.
oh no.
It was originally supposed to air on December 19th, 1998.
Oh.
And it got delayed 1 week because one Saturday morning was preempted by the news.
Oh, it's 1998.
I kind of want to know, like, could you think of what it could have been that would have
It
preempted?
had to be something with the
one
damned
Saturday
president.
morning? Yep, Clinton was getting impeached, so it got delayed.
Seriously?
Yeah.
They are ruining cartoons.
Yeah, they ruined cartoons.
So he could
Day.
get impeached.
So he could get impeached, which was the most fucking stupid thing. Nobody gave a shit, and it was stupid. Could you
Anyways.
imagine that being the worst? The president got a blowjob in the Oval Office and lied about it. Heaven forbid. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
Bill Clinton,
don't you think a lot of that has happened in
shitty
that
person,
Oval
shitty
Office?
president. But it only gets worse.
Truly is.
So this came out after Christmas, but whatever, it doesn't matter. So The Simpsons come out with the Treehouse of Horror like half the time it's after Halloween, and everyone's like, "Why is they doing?"
I say
that was the stupidest
anything
thing.
between the 26th and the 31st
Still counts as
fair
Christmas.
game. Fair
Yeah.
game because it is now the fun times of I got my gifts and we get to
True.
enjoy new stuff.
And you're done. You're not like going to work or school
Hopefully.
or hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
School was more than what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But
School wise, yes.
let us begin. Let us dive right
Let's just
into it.
begin.
This was directed by Susie Dieter. Oh, Susie Dieter. She's also directed some, or was a supervising director on The Simpsons.
Oh, okay.
I know that. I just know that. I don't know why I know that. I know that from commentaries, but I know she worked on The Simpsons as well. It was written by Mark Drop, Holly Hutkins, and Phil Walsh. The episode begins. We see a calendar in Hank's. I'm sad that I remembered it was Hank the janitor. Like I wrote
You
down Hank the
immediately went
janitor.
Hank. You didn't even have to think about it.
It's like sad that I can't remember most normal facts that a human being should know, but I remember the name
you'll
of
always
the
remember
janitor
Hank.
on recess. Hank's crossing off. We learned that it is December 11th.
Yes.
Never forget. And he's in his yeah, that's so dumb. He's in his that got Rachel though.
It was so stupid. All right, anyways.
He's in his janitor shed and he's getting the
He's in a full snowsuit and boots and gloves. He's got this giant tractor
Snowplow. It's
a snowplow.
Yeah, because as a school, you would need that
Oh
to
yeah,
plow the
big
parking
black
lot.
top, the
Yeah.
front walks and everything. Keep the kids safe. He's ready.
Yeah, he's getting it revved up. He's making sure that it all works.
The big
And
new sweeper 3000.
Snow sweeper. That's like the big S.
That's right, the snow sweeper.
Mhm.
I said now sweeper like a dumbass.
I don't know why it's called the Now Sweeper. Seems like a bad name. So he opens the janitor
Yeah,
garage.
it's like a garage. It's
Yeah.
where they keep like the shed.
Groundskeeper Willie Shack style thing.
Mhm.
He opens it up, and in actuality, it's not wintry at all. It's actually very warm. The diggers are warm.
They have like shirts off.
Yeah,
People are being
the Ashleys are
fanned.
sunbathing.
That's right. It's odd December weather.
Yeah. And they ask him like, well, what are you doing, Hank? Why are you dressed up like that? And our gang, and they tell him like, well, he says, well, it's gonna snow. I can feel it.
It's gonna be a white Christmas.
Yeah. And the gang is like, it's been years since it snowed on Christmas.
Which is true.
Well, I this is where I was like, trying to remember where are they from, and some people think it's Arkansas because of like some standardized test that they take at some point, and that
Interesting.
might be where the creators were from. But I think it's just supposed to be like anywheresville kind of.
Anywhere USA tends to just be like smack dab in the middle of the US half the time.
If you said it didn't snow on Christmas for a while or for a few years, that's probably true. Like unless you're like you got
Could
the
be
lake
East
effect of like
Coast-ish.
Buffalo and Cleveland or
Right.
whatever. Yeah.
I mean, it's not California.
No,
That's
I
my
think
point.
I think they're
Like-
supposed to be Midwest, plain
yeah,
state.
I'm thinking
type.
like Midwest or towards the East Coast.
The kids, though, are all starved for winter, and they're trying to pretend that it is snowing. So the kindergartners are like building mud snowmen, and there's people like they're just sledding on the blacktop and stuff. But the little kids are
Of
like
course.
excited for it, but they can't really do anything.
I understand that excitement. I always felt that as a kid.
And that's what the gang talks about. They talk about how well, remember when we were kids and Christmas was super fun and everything, and they talk about how they all had like different things that they would do.
Yeah, like all
they
their
would get
little
their Christmas.
traditions.
Yeah. And I mean that's how you are as a kid. You just said it, Rachel. You get excited. I don't think I've ever been a super Christmas person.
What's your favorite holiday?
Thanksgiving. But that's as an adult. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it was as a kid. It might have been Christmas, because like what other holidays are the best for kids? Like it's got to be Christmas,
Well,
or it's Halloween.
right. And I never was huge into Halloween. I never was huge into Halloween. Thanksgiving was fine because of food, but I was like, eh. And then there was Christmas, and Christmas was the lights and the snow
Yeah.
and the fun, and everybody gets together and you're playing games and there's food and
There's gifts, and I get stuff.
yeah, you get stuff. You get to give
And
stuff. I get to
get
make some fun stuff. I always like
presents
making things.
Yes, yeah, and you bake cookies and shit like that. So no,
Yes.
I understand. And that's what they're all talking about. And they're saying like everything seemed bigger when you were younger. I mean, we've had that conversation with Mom even this year when she was like, "It's just not the same because we don't get to do the games and stuff with like the kids and things like that." And it was like, well, it probably wasn't actually not that. You're just remembering the ones that were that way versus like
Probably.
every single year.
Right.
But it also all does seem bigger. Like even when we would talk about like going to the grandma's houses or whatever, and you'd feel like, oh, it's so big that we're in here and we're like in this huge circle opening presents.
No,
and
but it was.
it was the pile of presents.
It was a mountain. It was a mountain of presents surrounding the Christmas tree. It
Yeah.
was ridiculous and
Yeah.
unnecessary.
I mean, it got to the point where they would make sure to take a picture.
Oh,
every year so that we could see it.
absolutely.
Yeah. But as they talk about this, Vince brings up that he would try to stay up late so that he could get a glimpse of Santa, but he would always fall asleep. That leads them into saying like, oh yeah, well, we all know the truth about Santa now, right? Now that we're older. And Spinelli points out that, well, not all of us. And it shifts over to Mikey, who's at the bottom of the slide, and he's writing his letter to Santa.
That's right.
You ever write a letter to Santa, Rachel?
As a kid?
Or an adult? I mean, if you did this year, you can say
I
it.
mean,
Santa baby.
I don't know if I'm doing a sexy dance for Santa, but I
don't recall. I feel like maybe
I remember
we did emails to Santa.
I remember emailing Santa, which was always so silly.
Yeah,
But it was
'cause
also
he would you'd get a response
he'd respond.
that way.
Yeah. Or one of the elves would respond.
Right.
But I think we did a couple of times where there was like the big mailbox that we got to put the letters in. And I think it was just like I just wrote it down what I wanted and then put it in the mailbox. I don't remember making it a whole mail like letter thing. I think it was just here's my message, put it in the mailbox. Because it's magic. It's just going to get there. He knows who it is. It's fine.
You can throw it in the wind and it'll be fine. He'll get it.
Right. Exactly.
Mikey is writing his, and he says that he, as you might expect, I have a few requests. And as he's doing this, the rest of the gang come up to him. Spinelli says, "Are you still stressing or sweating?"
Yeah, because it's
that?
hot. I think that's why she's making a joke. Maybe not. I don't know.
Well, lazy writers get put on the naughty list, so you have to be good at writing a good letter to Santa to be able to get the stuff that you want. And they're like, yeah, you're right, I guess. Like they're all like rolling their eyes at him.
They're rolling their eyes, but they're not being.
They
like,
don't want to break
rude.
it to him. They don't want to tell him that they don't believe in Santa
fine.
or there isn't a Santa. They're letting him
Which is the way it should be.
Right.
Santa
Let everyone
exists
just do it as
for whoever it wants to exist for.
Yes, boys and girls, Santa is out there. He just takes the form of your parents most of the time.
Well, he could be anybody.
Well, that's Mikey's point,
Yes.
kind of. That should have kind of been
Allow kids to have magic.
That should have kind of been the message at the end, was that anybody can be Santa, I guess. That kind of should have been the message of the Santa Claus, but we'll get into that one day. So,
is there a message in the Santa Claus?
No.
Was there?
No. Mikey hears the bell ring and he runs off and he says that he wants to go to watch he has to get to the Christmas tryouts.
Right.
And we then see the start of the Christmas tryouts. Randall is in an oversized Santa outfit trying to sing. Upside Down Girl has a Rudolph outfit on, I think.
Yeah, I think she's going for Rudolph.
Yeah. The Ashleys are looking at the script. Ashley A, I think it is saying, they've got to be kidding. I can't believe it's totally beneath my dignity to play a glazed ham, which is such like a background line that I think is pretty funny.
Side dish.
Oh, she is a side dish, I'm sure. As an adult, like Ashley A as an adult, I'm sure is a side dish. That's a funny joke, though, in the background of that they're gonna. Unfortunately, what I don't like is that she wasn't in a glazed ham outfit at the end.
That's fair.
And they weren't all.
They all
foods.
should have been.
They should have
been foods.
Because they just are they're the plastics at the end of this.
Yes.
I personally think that's a good role. If anyone wants to cast me as a glazed ham, go for it. Because I pretty much am just a ham as is. You're gonna glaze me up, woman. We learned that Mikey wasn't really trying out. He just wants to be surrounded by the Christmas atmosphere.
He just loves the Christmas spirit.
Yeah, which I get.
I also do.
I enjoy like going for a walk after dusk so I can see the lights and stuff during Christmas.
Oh yeah,
it's
great.
Cold. It's like that's when you got to go do it. So Mikey says besides Peace on Earth, he wants some Shakespeare, some poetry, and gumballs.
Lots of gumballs.
Gumballs has to be an antiquated notion because I remember even as a kid being like, these gumballs are disgusting.
They're horrible.
They're not
when
good.
They hurt your mouth and your teeth. Like they just hurt. Like I'm not saying like, oh, they're banned for you. I'm saying like they hurt to eat.
Yeah. I do not think that a gumball is the way to go.
No. Oh, well, think about like the what are those called? The jawbreakers and stuff too.
Yeah,
like,
just awful.
Anything
stuff.
like that, awful.
Mm-hmm. Finster is administering the tryouts, and as she's telling people where to go, Prickly walks in.
She calls them Euligans.
She calls them Euligans?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Because she always is calling them hooligans.
Yeah. So she's in the Christmas spirit as well.
I suppose so. Oh, Miss Finster's in the Christmas spirit. Prickly walks in with Mr. Bream, a guy from Hollywood. He's there for his television special, as we talked about. It's going to be worldwide and everything. He even corrects Prickly and says that it's not some television show. It's an extravaganza, just like our holiday extravaganza.
Oh, absolutely. Rachel. Yes.
I like that he is proud to point out that the overhead lights are on dimmers. He pulls Finster aside and tells Finster that they need to come up with something good because this could put 3rd Street on the map. Hell, it could put 3rd Street on the globe. But
I don't know what that would do for them. I guess just get them more money.
get them more
For
funding.
funding?
He's kind of a Principal Skinner type, and that he's always trying to get funding for the school
Which
and
is
stuff.
fair.
Yeah.
You want funding for the schools so that the kids have good stuff.
So that's where my head was going with it. Like, is he
Okay.
trying to just get funding?
It has to be.
He's also just this
He's a bit of-
lowly
he's a bit-
principal. His brother, I think, we learn in one episode,
he's a
is
principal
like a
at the
big
other
shot.
school.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think he just wants that power and that glory of being principal as
Power
well.
and glory of being the real principal.
He's not impressed though.
He isn't impressed, and he starts walking away. And the guy says, "Like, your school looks like every other school I've ever seen," which is the point of recess. But he's like, "There's nothing special here." And Prickly's like, "Finster, what do we have that's special? We have to say something about special." And the Mr. Bream guy says he's got Poipu Prep.
I think that's how you say it.
Poipu Prep doing a Hulu celebration from Waikiki. And you just can tell, like, they just threw in as many, like, Hawaiian words that they
Yes.
could just to make it hard to say.
Yes.
But it's, like, funny. Like, all of this exposition stuff, if you were a little kid, would just go right over
Yeah,
your
you're just
head,
like,
I
oh,
feel
okay,
like.
another school's gonna take it.
Yeah, but, like, those little things, that's what I always thought elevated recess above some of the other stuff that we would watch on Saturday mornings or anything like that. I mean, we did Turtles as part of Volume 5 here. This is so much smarter than Turtles could ever be. We put it on the shelf.
Yes.
Spoiler alert for those that haven't listened to
Wow.
that. But
Go actually find out if we did.
yeah,
did
go
I?
actually.
I don't know.
You can figure out the ranking of the episodes and
Oh,
all
yeah,
of the
there you
other
go. Go
junk.
listen
You
to
get
the
to
fake
hear us
rankings.
say enormous in Shredder's voice and all of that kind of stuff.
That's right.
But having those kind of not onomatopoeia, but alliterative jokes that always I thought elevated it. Finster gets the idea and remembers that there is that one boy, that kid
From the
from the
spring
spring
fling.
last year. And he goes, "Oh yeah, I remember that. I haven't cried like that since that land deal fell through." So like even that is like an adult joke
Yes.
captured in the kid's spirit. And he turns and he tells Bream that he has the best Santa that he could ever get. That immediately goes and cuts into Mikey standing on stage,
Like an awkward child.
very awkwardly, but
He does.
love-
He has stage fright. That is his thing. He's not.
He does have stage fright, which was what we learn in a second. But Rachel, you remember that episode where he has to
I
overcome
remember. Yes.
that? Yeah.
Yeah. He could sing in the bathroom.
He could only sing in the bathroom.
He overcomes it, but it doesn't mean it's gonna go away. He still's like, why are you bringing me in here?
So yeah, Mikey is standing on the stage. He does get stage fright, as you said, because I was
I don't even
wondering.
know if it's stage fright. I think it's just kind of like.
Well, he looks awkward.
He just feels awkward.
But like Prickly has to
Put
have
on the
told him
spot.
like, we're gonna have you play Santa.
Right.
You'd think that he'd be more enthusiastic about it.
That's why I'm confused by this.
It's very odd because he just goes ho ho ho. Like
yeah.
I don't
He
want to be
seems
here.
so like
it
yeah.
seems weird.
It's so weird.
So like your idea that it's stage fright at least makes some sense because like why doesn't he have enthusiasm?
Well,
for
part
it?
of me is like maybe they didn't really tell him.
Mm.
And so he's just like, you want me to say ho ho ho? Okay, like why am I up here?
Yeah.
You know,
All right. I suppose then
it's
you
the
could
only other
say-
thing I could think.
Yeah, that they didn't tell him. That's the only other explanation. That's the only. There's
Mikey, get
there's
in
only one
here.
explanation.
Yeah.
Bream takes one look at Mikey though and goes, "4th grade? What are you feeding these kids, Prickly?
He's a big boy.
He's a big old boy. I'm a big boy." See the Halloween special for dinosaurs.
Yes.
So he does the ho 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 badly, and then Prickly goes up and is like, "What the fuck are you doing? You're gonna ruin this for all of us." And Prickly tells him, "You're supposed to sing like you did for that music teacher, Miss Salamone." And Mikey gets a hard on and thinks,
Gross.
Miss Salamone. Look, hey, Rachel, listen. I remember that episode, and I can tell you right now,
He did have a huge crush
Miss
on
Salamone
her.
can get it, okay?
Gross.
Miss
She's very
Salamone is
pretty.
fucking hot, all
Gross.
right?
She is very pretty. I will give her that.
So it's calling back to this episode that Rachel is alluding to where Miss Salamone came in. She was a
Music
teacher at the middle school
Mhm.
to help teach Mikey how to sing because everyone knew that Mikey could sing in the bathroom, but he couldn't sing on stage.
Right.
And when he sings,
Oh, he turns into a whole different person.
he turns into Robert Goulet.
Literally.
And it actually is Robert Goulet,
Yes.
which I find very, very funny. Miss Salamone, very pretty. We'll get it. I'll fawn over. I found Miss Salamone cute. She's a very cute cartoon.
No, she
character.
is. She's very, yeah.
Yeah, Miss Salamone, if you're out there in some other dimension, And I don't think things worked out with her opera singing fiance.
I doubt
I'm just
it.
gonna
He's
assume.
probably a douche.
Yeah, so if you're still out there, give me a call. Anyway, yeah, there was no way he was traveling the world. He's probably cheating on her and all sorts of stuff.
Dick.
Mikey remembers that she told him that it was like breathing for the soul, and this allows him to go,
Ho, ho, ho,
Ho, ho, ho! That is my Santa.
which of course he is.
Of course
he's
he
this
is.
gelatinous kid.
He's the big kid. You put him in a Santa
He's
suit.
jovial.
He can do that deep voice.
Yeah, Mikey would be Santa his entire life.
Oh yeah.
He'd be what?
When he gets older, he's just going to be Santa. At
The
all
kids are about
times.
the same age I am, so that he'd be in like his mid-30s at the time of this recording. He'd be going around to parties doing ho-ho-ho like
100%.
Robert Goulet.
100%.
They tell Mikey he's going to be the perfect Santa, and they think he's great. Mikey says, like, well, it's actually going to be really nice because I've based a lot of my I've based my whole life around his teachings. And they're like, teachings? And he goes, you know, be nice to kids, maintain a positive body image. That's a good line.
I mean, you can think of it that way, that he is giving some good, like, you know.
Yeah, technically, yes.
Yes.
He doesn't care that he's fat. It's
Right.
like, great, fuck it. Give me more milk and cookies.
Well,
motherfucker.
I just meant like his teachings of like being kind.
It's like in
and-
Rudolph, where she was fatting his ass up. No one wants a skinny Santa.
Yeah, who has ever heard of a skinny Santa? That was maybe when he's skinny, he's an asshole.
He talks about skinny people are jerks.
Body positivity. Put on that fat.
Mikey said, put on the fat. Put on the fat could be a t-shirt. I don't know in what context. I guess it's the skinny Santa.
Yeah, like get
Put on
ready.
the fat.
Get ready. Put on that fat.
It just could be a holiday sweater. It just could say put on the fat.
It's just a bunch of skinny Santas.
Yeah. It gets progressively fatter. Like,
oh, I like
as the
that. Like a
sweatshirt
clock.
goes down.
Like a clock or
Yeah.
something. Mm.
Anyway, folks, make that. Mikey talks about he's saying that he wants to do something special to mark this event because he's playing one of the greatest humans to ever live, and he doesn't know what to do. So he goes, I know, I'll invite Santa myself.
And this is where his friends make a mistake. All they
It's
had
fine.
to say was, oh
He's
yeah,
busy.
that'd be cool. He's probably busy though because of this time of year.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if he could come, but you know,
Isn't that what they say?
this is where I feel like they did a slip up, isn't it? Because I feel like
Well,
TJ started
TJ
to do it, and then
TJ started to do it, but he's like, well, how would I be disappointed? I'll get to play in front of the big man himself. Before they can kind of do that, though, that
oh yeah,
Randall
you're right.
shows
You're
up.
right.
So it's
so
not
they were
really.
going to do it.
I don't really blame the gang.
Okay,
They were
you're
gonna.
right.
They
You're
were
right. I guess
leading
it's
that
later
way.
when I'm just like annoyed with
Yeah.
them.
Randall come by
This
and
is
says,
Randall the
like,
Weasel's fault.
there is no zip code to send that letter to Santa because he's not real.
Yeah.
They're like, Randall, we know that you're just mad that you didn't get to be
Be
in the play,
Santa.
that you don't get to be
'Cause he
Santa.
wanted to
He's
be
like,
Santa.
well, I don't play any characters that aren't real, and they like all gasp at this. Spinelli like tells him, get the fuck out of here before I beat the shit out of you, and he does. Here's what I didn't think made any fucking sense. Mikey is confused at the thought that people would say Santa is not real.
Yeah, how has he not heard
You
that all
live-
over the damn place?
Yeah, you're on the playground. This gang is not the only ones that don't think Santa's real.
No, but how are they keeping him away from everybody saying that?
That's what okay, that's possible. So you think that they're just like
they must
sheltering
be just,
him.
I think they are because he's just so innocent.
And he's just like, why would anyone say that? Why would anyone say Santa's not real? And they're like, well, you know how kids are. And they're like, he even says like, well, what kids? And they're like,
jerks, weasels like Randall.
They're like, there's kids that don't think Santa's real. And he's like, how could this be? It's so.
Well, I mean, I guess at that point you could just say, well, they don't celebrate Christmas.
Yeah, you could.
Right?
You could.
Or they celebrate it in different ways.
He'd go on a whole different.
I know, he'd go on a whole damn tirade.
Yeah,
It's fine.
about
I
like now I
understand.
have to give kids the Christmas spirit or something like
Yeah,
that.
Merry fucking Christmas.
But he's
I'm
like,
sorry,
well,
I thought of the song from South
oh,
Park.
from South Park,
Yes.
Merry fucking Christmas.
That's why I said it. I wasn't just being
Somewhere in Japan, all they do is eat a cake. Yeah, I got it. I couldn't remember what you were just talking about. I got it.
I just was like, oh, I just sounded like cynical saying it. Like,
hey there,
Merry
Mr. Shindo. It's
Christmas.
Merry fucking Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah, I got it. Mikey is like, but what are you guys talking about? And they're like, well, we all believe in Santa.
Well,
they
he
don't
says we all believe in Santa.
Yeah, and they don't want to lie to him. So they all just kind of look away. This, maybe you could say, Rachel, is where they're like not being nice because they're just like, they don't even tell them they don't.
My problem. Yeah, that's my problem with this part is it's like, okay, look, even if you don't believe in Santa, you still have that holiday spirit, right? Come on, tell me you don't.
They're not saying that they don't. They're just saying like, well, the idea of Santa is, Gus is like, we're not really sure about it. And like, they're trying to like.
They're saying that they're skeptical.
Yeah, they're skeptics.
I guess. I don't know. It just something about it just feels so. This becomes weaselly to me.
This is really, it's an analogy between having faith in your religion or your world or whatever versus skepticism. Yeah, having blind faith.
Yeah.
It's really a Jesus story.
God damn it! You're just
when
bringing
you think
it
about
in.
it.
It fits. I mean, yes, you could say that. You could fit that in there.
Well, I mean,
but I think
it
is also just showing their loyalty in being honest with Mikey.
Yeah, they don't want to lie to him
as friends.
Yeah,
and wanting to help him
keep that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Gretchen says that it seems pretty implausible that an overweight man could fly around the entire world and deliver presents to all the children in just one night. And Mikey with a amazing retort.
The concept of an overweight man in a red suit delivering presents to several million children all in one night is a tad difficult to accept.
I don't think you need to bring his weight into it.
That's great.
Fair though.
That's a great line.
What do you think, a skinny person like you, Gretchen, could do it?
TJ wants to explain it to Mikey further, but Mikey doesn't want to hear it, and he storms off, and he's like, instead of just storming off and being like, well, whatever, guys, I still believe in Santa, he's like, I'm going to prove to you that Santa is real. As he leaves, Gretchen goes, oh, it's the Tooth Fairy incident all over again. So this isn't the first time that Mikey has gotten the bad news. I never got the Tooth Fairy.
I don't think I ever.
I always thought it was like why? That one's bizarre.
I mean, it is kind of
as
bizarre.
a little kid, I'm sure I believed, but like, it's when you think about that one, it's like, but why? Why is that like up there? Like, why is the Tooth Fairy in the same ranks as the Easter Bunny and Santa?
It's a good question. I guess we could watch Guardians and find out. Isn't that the one that has them all in it together?
Yeah, is that on the list?
Like
Rachel?
Jack Frost and everything.
Jack Frost, I think, is on it. Yeah. You gonna put that one on the list?
I feel like I have to now.
Is good King Kwanzaa
we gotta find
in
out.
It, though? We go back to it being hot, too hot. And Hank says that there's blue skies and sunny days. Snow's a-coming. Their teacher, who I could not remember her name, is it Miss Grokey?
Yes.
Okay. Miss Grokey is orchestrating the Ashley's dressed as reindeer. They're just doing, they're going to do Jingle Bell Rock.
They 100% are doing Jingle Bell.
In 6 years,
Jingle
they're
Bell
just
Rock.
doing Jingle Bell Rock.
Yes. Well, that's when they put on the skirts. Right now they're in cute reindeer onesies.
Yeah, they're fine with it because it's still, they get to be, oh my God, look at how cute we are.
Right.
But they're definitely
and then it becomes, we're still super cute, and they're like showing off way too much.
Oh yeah, they're definitely they're slapping their thighs.
Oh
or whatever
they bend down, they
one.
slap those thighs and get back up.
That one's main event level. We'll do it one day.
It's a Christmas movie, Kevin.
Jingle Bell. It's kind of an everything movie. They do an entire year.
Yes,
school,
I was just joking.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was thinking about Jingle Bell Rock again. Jingle Bell.
Are you just thinking of them dancing?
What if the Ashleys just had a Jingle Bell Rock in their reindeer outfits? I mean, they are just the plastics.
Yes, they are the plastics. I agree.
They're nicer than the plastic. Well, there's that episode where they had to give Spinelli tickets to the wrestling or to like WrestleMania or whatever because they got gifted it and they didn't want it, and
they knew that she liked it and she's an Ashley.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Bream is talking about how he is going to have a bunch of different characters in this. Harvey Hanukkah, Good King Kwanzaa, the spirit of Kwanzaa.
Beautiful.
no jingle-brained political correctoid is going to be able to complain. You can tell where we were in 1998.
Yes.
The president's getting impeached for a blowjob. We've got South Park was just the year
South
before this
Park.
going, happy, which we covered also.
Yes.
Mr. Hanky the Christmas Pooh covered expertly by Shelf Life.
Thank you.
I think we both put that one on the shelf too. Rachel begrudgingly because she's not a big fan of Mr. Hanky, but she put it on the shelf.
Mr. Hanky.
So that was becoming part of the public consciousness.
Yes.
Is like the idea of like being politically correct.
Constantly having to do that.
You could make fun of it back then and not be thought of as a racist bigot.
Yeah, because you're just
MAGA.
literally just making fun of the fact that it's just like
that it
forcing
exists.
stuff into everything.
Yeah. The guys are, well, because now it's like, because the culture has shifted to be like more sensitive. Now the people that aren't sensitive are just kind of piggish about it.
Right.
Instead of like, there's a way to mix
Oh,
these
of course.
things.
Yes.
The guys are upset about Mikey. I don't know why they're there. Oh, because they are all participating in the play.
Yeah,
So
they're
that's
all
why
in
they're
it.
there. Okay.
Oh yeah,
you're
we
right.
find out later who gets to be King Kwanzaa
I guess because at the
and Harvey
beginning,
Hanukkah.
Yeah, you're right. Because I guess at the beginning it was supposed to be more like smaller, like a Christmas pageant
Right.
thing. But now because of this guy, they need like a ton of kids to do
Exactly.
it. And Prickly's like, TJ, get your fucking group together because I know that they're diverse.
Detweiler, get in here.
Detweiler, get in here.
Yeah, he does have a very diverse-ish group. No,
Yeah.
it's not that diverse, but it's diverse enough.
There's girls. There's a black kid. It's about as diverse as 3rd Street
I think
gets.
that's what it is. Yeah.
So anyway, Mikey comes in with a bunch of books, and he's trying to prove to the guys that Santa is real because he's in all these history books, he's all these textbooks and stuff like that. And Vince flips through an encyclopedia, and he realizes that, oh, well, I mean, yeah, here it is. Santa is always supposed to be St. Nicholas, who died in 350 AD.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's like a scientific journal that Gretchen finds with mentions of Santa in it, where they find out that he would have had to slide down 822 chimneys per second in order to reach all of the kids. Which, again, Rachel, when you ride, time rides with you, so time just freezes, or he has wormholes or something.
Yes.
Like, come on, folks.
Right.
These are easy things.
It's
These
so
are
easy.
things.
It's ridiculous.
Mikey says it's a Mikey goes full on Q here because he's like, no, you don't get it. This is a conspiracy. Folks at home, Mikey.
We have Mikey here talking about the conspiracy of Santa Claus.
Recess was telling us about the conspiracy to make sure that all of you don't really believe in Santa. Santa Claus is real, okay? Santa Claus was actually part of the deep state trying to destroy America from the inside, and that's why the CIA had to take him out back in 350 AD, folks.
That's right. Or the conspiracy is that he's dead, but he's not. Santa is immortal.
Santa is more. The CIA doesn't want you to know that there is a cure for mortality. But there is a cure for mortality. Santa knows it. That is why Santa is immortal. But really, Mikey says that there's a conspiracy to keep the truth about Santa being alive,
like
or Santa
more
being
about
real.
him.
And they're like, well, why? And they're like, well, I mean, obviously there has to be. And they roll their eyes.
I mean, you
about
gotta
this,
kind of
like,
think about it. He's got so many gifts and stuff. People would rob Santa constantly.
That's true.
You know, someone might
He
actually
would
be
need
out
a
there
hefty
trying
amount
to
of
assassinate
security.
him.
Yeah, there would definitely be assassination attempts. He'd be in the big bubble like the Pope.
Now it's the Santa Mobile instead of
Yeah,
the
it's the
Pope-mobile.
Santa Mobile. His sleigh has bulletproof glass
I
all
like
around
it.
it. Mikey says, fuck your facts, though, and he runs out. He is going to try to prove to them in different ways. So at first, he takes the group to the mall, and Mikey's like, I'm going to prove this to you. I do really enjoy the teenage girl from Stranger Things that is at this mall being like, all right, welcome to Santa's Village.
Yes.
$6 if you want a picture.
Right.
Toilet trained children only.
Fair
I just
enough.
love it. Between this and like Christmas Story, where we're getting this cynical,
The cynical elves that have to
mall.
help.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's kind of funny that
Doesn't
there's
matter
something
when.
Like, yep, cynical.
You still have this awful paying job that you have to do. And deal with a
But-
bunch of screaming children.
Mikey is still super optimistic about this, so he hands her all of like $6 in coins.
In coins, which probably just pisses this poor girl off more.
Yeah, this girl who looks like a Beavis and Butthead, almost animated.
I suppose
in the animation, just in a couple of frames.
She
but
definitely looks like an older Ashley.
She could be an Ashley sister. We don't know.
Oh, that would be that. No, there you go.
Her name, I think, was Trisha, so her group could have been the Trishas.
Ah.
There's got to be an episode where we learn that, right? That the Ashleys have older sisters.
I'm pretty sure there is, and I think they all do. Is it? No, it's the moms. The moms were all best friends. Aren't they all named the same thing?
I think that's right. Scandalous.
Ooh, scandalous. So fetch.
Mikey busts in an interesting mall Santa because instead of like being out in the middle of the mall, like I would think that he would be, they've got like a little Santa's village where you like get to go into
Yes, it's like a cute little cabin.
Yeah, it's a different little idea there to be able to kind of let each family kind of like have like a
their
little
own
moment with Santa.
Yes.
That's kind of nice.
It's like an experience.
And $6. I don't have kids, so I don't know.
Is it $6 per kid or group?
There is no way. I bet you going to see Santa is like an outrageous price.
Probably.
$20 to $30 it says. Still not great.
I mean, it's not horrible.
I thought it was going to be like $50.
That seems way more reasonable than I was expecting.
How much does it cost for Santa photos? I mean, some of these are saying like it costs like $62 sometimes, and it can cost $40 sometimes.
Yeah, but is that because you have like a crazy amount of kids?
Well, I just
and you're
wonder,
trying to have like each individual and then group
I'm guessing it depends on
pictures
where you go. Like I'm guessing in larger cities it's pretty expensive.
That's fair too, I suppose.
Smaller cities it's probably not as much.
Right.
Santa says like, "Oh, hello, big group here. Who wants to go first?" And Mikey jumps on his lap.
Yes.
They had to like shrink the way that Mikey looks down for him to fit on Santa's lap in the animation, I think. He's way too big. He's crushing Santa. And Mikey's like, "Hey, Santa, my friends don't believe in you. Can you do something cool like
speak in another language?
Speak in Dutch or make it start to snow or something?" Before Santa can even respond to this, he just tosses Mikey off because he's like way, way too heavy.
Which is ridiculous, though.
Well, he is too heavy.
Yes, but it's rude.
I mean, what would you do, Rachel, if you were Santa in this situation?
Just ask the kid to get up.
Like, well,
gently.
I'm happy to talk
gently
to you. Well,
stand
but
up.
this is supposed to be like a cynical, like,
yes, we have the cynical Santa. Yeah. But I'm just saying, like.
But you would have been like, can you please.
Gentle. You go, hey, we're going to stand up for a second.
For a second, I'll walk around.
Yeah. We'll take a big group picture. I'll stand up behind you guys.
Yeah. That would have solved it.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, he complains about his leg, and then he goes and asks Trisha if the other Santa can come fill in, and that girl's like, he can't. He's on break in the food cart. And the guy's like, and Santa's like, that son of a bitch is always at the fucking food court. He rips off his beard. Why?
Dude.
Why?
What is wrong with
That's
you?
That's got to be like Santa 101.
I don't think
no matter
you're
how frustrated
you can't drop character, sir.
Sir?
You are now
sir.
Fired.
Yeah, good. Now you got rid of your cushy gig being Santa, but he rips it off, and they even are able to snap a picture here. Mikey is devastated, and all of them are like, "Ah, man." And I was thinking, because the next scene is them like walking down the street, and they're telling him like, "Well, maybe Santa just wasn't having a very good day, Mikey." And it's like, no.
No, that's not Santa. If
that
anything,
was Santa's helper.
Yeah,
like
maybe that
was
just
right?
one of Santa's helpers, because there's no way he can be at all places at once.
Yeah, he's not God. He's Santa.
He's Santa. He's busy. He needs helpers. That's why there's so many of them.
That's where I was like, guys, come on. This is easy. You just tell him he's his helper.
But that's only if they want to backtrack. They've already said the truth now.
No, they do want to backtrack because they keep saying like, oh, well, maybe Santa was just having a rough day.
Yes, but at this point, you guys trying to backtrack is just asinine.
It would be a little more tolerable if they were doing it with snark. But they don't want to be snarky.
No, they don't want to be snarky.
So their motivation is a little wonky.
Right.
It womps, you might say.
It's all womps.
Mikey calls him an imposter. They all come out of the woodwork this time of year. I like that he doesn't say he's a helper. He says that he's an imposter.
Well, because he's bah humbug Santa. You can't have a bah humbug Santa. That's an imposter. That's not a helper.
That'd be a fun comedy sketch if you just not with like kids around, but just ran up and just were like, "You're an imposter. You sir are an imposter." Just some mall Santa, and then like get dragged off, like have other people like in on
like
it,
pretend,
like drag you off and be like, "You're an imposter. You're no Santa Claus." He tells them that they will see the real Santa in the parade. Now, why do you think, Mikey, that he's in just this parade in the middle of your...
Well, the Santa at the end of the parade is always the real Santa.
Always. Again, Rachel.
Have you been to parades?
He's got a lot of shit to do.
I know. It's it's a helper. It's another
helper. He can't go to all of these parades. He might be able to do one.
Right. But this is a helper. It's another helper.
This is a helper. So they go to the parade.
But it's a real helper.
It's like a montage of stuff that you can do at Christmas to see Santa.
It really is.
You go to the mall, you go to the parade.
They're enjoying time together.
Yeah, they're just enjoying... That's really what happens. Now they're just enjoying time together.
Yes.
Vince does what I would do and points out the cute weather girl.
I noticed that. I was like, oh my God.
that was me.
Yes.
The creepiest
Why?
cowboy from television and
somebody
his puppet.
like, was this in one of the episodes and I missed who frickin' this man and Jasper, his puppet is?
It's gotta be from something that I do not remember.
It's so creepy.
Did you notice all of the floats too have stuff to vote for Mayor Fitzhugh on it? It's almost like he put this whole parade together just for his campaign.
Oh my God, I think you're right.
And then
it is.
So Gus is like, look, there he is. There's Santa. And then he tries to tone it down a little bit.
I think Gus kind of half believes still.
I think
and
Gus
he's like in the
wants
closet.
to. I think he wants to.
I agree.
But I think he'd like.
I think he's got one footsteps still in the magical kid era.
I think he feels like he can't, or he just doesn't really believe it, but he wants to.
Yeah. Or he's like, well, he could still be real. Like, I feel like he actually does believe and doesn't want to not, but then also like realizes like, well, if everybody thinks this, it's got to be true. But he's like, but I still kind of believe in him.
Yeah. TJ's like, okay, great, you saw Santa. We have to get back to the fucking play because you're Santa. And he's like, no, not yet. And he almost gets hit by the float, which is going like 2 miles an hour.
Which is so dumb, though. Like, that is dangerous anyways.
Yeah, that was dangerous.
Where's the cops that for this parade? They would have been like, Mikey, get off the damn street.
You would have thought so, but there's nothing there. Hey, kid, get your big fat ass out of the street. The mayor needs you. Santa, then on the float, which you can even see. I love that you can see the guy driving the sleigh too.
You can.
Like Mikey completely like throws out any data to the contrary that Santa is real in these situations.
Of course.
Which is again, Rachel, about faith. How you have to throw out all of the evidence if you want to complete and utter faith.
Yes.
Versus like logical faith.
Right.
Logical faith. That's what I'm going to call it.
Okay. That's fine.
It's so clearly the mayor.
It really is. Well, you can see his black hair at one point.
Yeah.
He's got that nose and
the Santa tries to cover it, and he says that, he needed a break from the North Pole stuff, so he came down to be in the parade. And he's like, well, I'll tell you what, I'll get you guys some candy. How would you guys like some candy? And the kids are all like up for it. Spinelli's even like, well, I guess I'm
so that's fine. You're gonna be candy.
Santa.
That's cool.
Yeah. But as he goes to try to get it,
the whole disguise comes off. His hat, the beard, and everything. And
yeah. So they're like, Mayor Fitzhugh, and he's like, hey, tell your your parents and any adult siblings that you might have that I'm both the mayor and Santa all rolled into one. And they call him out on this because he's like trying to. This is where I thought that they were harsh, but now that I'm thinking back to it, and all of the floats did have like vote for Mayor Fitzhugh.
Yes,
he was trying to use.
I think he
Christmas.
really was.
Like, it would be one thing if the mayor just was like, we need a Santa, and the mayor was like, I'll do it.
I'll be
the
Santa.
It's different though than him putting vote for Mayor Fitzhugh on all of the
Absolutely.
stuff.
Especially when he says like he doesn't want another incident. Let's get out of here. I'm like, sir.
Sir, what did you do?
Sir.
But all the crowd starts to boo him then.
Yes.
And he has
as
to
deserved, because now he ruined that. Like, now his Santa costume came off and all the kids are crying.
I don't want politics in my fucking Christmas. I'll tell you that right now.
Damn straight.
Mikey hears Santa on the radio show in the window of one of these shops that always has electronics in the window, which we never see. You do not see these anymore, as we've talked about in the past. And he runs to WXMS.
Get it?
Yeah, did you get that one? How far away was this radio
I don't
station?
know, because I was thinking the same thing. Like,
how
do you know where the radio station is and then you just go there?
As an adult, I know like where a couple of radio stations are.
Oh yeah, because we've won stuff before.
Downtown city part, because like the do the shows like from the window and stuff. Most radio stations, I wouldn't know where the hell to go
No.
to find the radio station, and they just run right to it. But they do, and they go inside, and Mikey's like, "Where is Santa?" And the receptionist is like, "There's no Santa here." And he hears a ho ho ho, and Mikey's like, no Santa, huh? I love that
You
Mikey
liar.
thinks that the adults are trying to like hide Santa, but at the same time, he's everywhere.
Right.
Turns out it was the host doing a bit where it's basically me. It's just me.
But the thing is, yeah, it does kind of seem like you doing a bit. But the thing is, why does he invite Mikey in?
He thinks Mikey's going to play along.
But why does he think that? It just seems so
because
random.
He thinks that because he even says the younger kids are the ones that believe this.
Yeah,
so
he's like,
thinks
you're an older
Mikey
boy, you
knows,
already
like,
know, you're just
so,
here
come in
for
and
fun.
Play along with me for the kids.
Yeah.
And he's a radio guy, so he was like trying to improvise.
I guess
think.
that's true.
Yeah. But because Mikey is upset, he is actually crying. He's got like tears in his eyes.
Yeah, at this point he's breaking down.
He says like, you're not Santa, you're just the radio DJ guy. And he says like, because the radio guy puts a music on or something like that, and he's like, what are you doing? Like we were gonna do a bit.
Right.
And Mikey's like, well, I'm upset. And the guy's like, well, where's your Christmas spirit? And Mikey goes, it's gone, it's never coming back.
Oh, poor Mikey.
Mikey has lost his Christmas spirit. He's going to need supernatural help to get it back. This is a trope, right, Rachel?
Yes, you lose your Christmas spirit, you have to get it back.
And then you find out that Santa is real. Like that.
That's right.
It's a very basic trope.
I think so.
In kids' pop culture, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
This whole storyline where then it's like, you don't think, and then Santa turns out to be real.
Right, and there's like a big wink, you know, and a nudge.
It happens a lot, I feel like, in shows and stuff.
I think so.
Now they're finally like, he's pretty busy this time of year. He can't make personal appearances everywhere that he's supposed to. And Spinelli has a good line that says, where she goes, yeah, that's what killed Elvis.
I shouldn't laugh. It's just kind of true.
Fat bastard with your stupid peanut butter.
Watching
whatever.
like his last show and stuff, he just seemed so.
He was so hopped up on goofballs.
Oof.
Mikey laments the loss of his innocence and rips up his note to Santa, which then goes in the wind, and he calls Christmas a lie and Santa a big fat fake. And Gretchen goes, now I know how the Grinch must have felt. And you were like, wait, why?
I still don't understand why they say. I guess because they feel like they're the Grinch and ruining Christmas for him.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, they think
it
that
just
they
didn't make
ruined his
any
Christmas.
sense because it's like, who's the Grinch? You
They
or
are.
Mikey? And it makes sense that they are because they're just like, they ruined that person's Christmas.
Right. I don't know what they were supposed to do though. It just got it got elevated too much.
It did. Running
with,
around and doing
Randall.
all of that stuff. I guess all it would be is just kind of like being like, look, whether he's real or not, we can all still have like Christmas like enjoyment and spirit and stuff. And
But they aren't thinking that way.
no, I know they're not
They're
thinking
thinking
that
more
way.
just like, he doesn't give us gifts. Like that's the way that they're thinking.
I guess
about it.
so, yeah.
Hank is now using radar and really wants that snow really bad. He's like, why does he want it to snow so? Does he just like the snow?
I think he loves the snow.
Because he does get very enthusiastic about it.
Yeah, so I think he loves the snow, and I think he loves being a part of like cleaning it up so that the kids can have fun and be safe at the same time.
Yeah.
I feel like he's that kind of guy.
Yeah. Get out of the way, you cheese-eating surrender monkeys. The kids are upset about what happened. They don't want to tell Prickly that Mikey isn't going to show up. But Randall overhears this, and he takes it to Miss Finster. Prickly is like, well, what are we going to do if Mikey doesn't show up? I'm going to be in hot shit with that TV producer.
Right.
And Finster's like, I have an idea, Principal. Why don't you have Randall do it here? Go ho-ho-ho, boy. And Randall goes... that is such a good joke. It's such a good, like, under-the-radar joke. Again, all these under-the-radar jokes are my favorite thing about Recess.
Yes.
Well, I believe young Randall here would make a fine Santa replacement. Go ho ho ho.
A really good dusk, Like the lighting in this next scene is really
it's
good.
really nice looking.
Because it's that December dusk where it's like
3
o'clock in the
and
afternoon and it's like somebody put a filter over your eyes.
Yes. The lights are kind of on, but it's getting dark, but it's not quite there yet. And...
Yeah. Mikey is walking down the street. He's all upset. He hears a ho ho ho, and no. He doesn't hear a ho ho ho. He hears bye, 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 and it's a Santa saying that there's 20% off on merchandise.
Yes.
And what does Mikey call Santa?
Bye, bye, bye. Ho, ho, ho.
Capitalist dupe.
It was a dupe. Capitalist
I
dupe.
love that he calls him a capitalist dupe.
Oh my god.
There's a sign that for Mayor Fitzhugh, and he's upset about that too. And then he sees these two kids.
Yes. Roll up
on bikes because they're probably gonna go to church or a
dinner or a little party
with their family,
or
whatever.
something.
So
yeah.
like, oh well, we'll meet up and we'll exchange our gifts with each other. They meet up on bikes. They exchange gifts to each other, and it's like little shit. Like the one got like a pink crayon.
Yeah,
to the other
like a
one.
massive pink crayon, and the other
Yeah.
one got like some Play-Doh and.
Yeah, and they're both like, "Oh, how did you know?" and stuff. And he gets a little smile on his face because he's like watching what he thinks the spirit of Santa is supposed to be about.
Yeah, just giving to each other and smiling and being happy. And
as he sees this, though, an old man at the nursing home, which he's stopped in front of, sees him and says,
Yes.
"Oh, now that's what I call the spirit of Christmas,
Hey, Mikey."
This
And
will
you
give- this will give those humans the perfect flavor. Anything the light touches is our kingdom.
Can you understand what Kevin's getting at here?
All right, but when I heard that voice, I was like, "Is that him?" And then he said one more line, and I was like,
to do Star Wars.
"James Earl Jones was in Recess."
Yeah, it's hard not to know that man's voice.
James Earl Jones is playing the old man in this. I did not remember that James Earl Jones was the Santa in this, Rachel. That's just, I didn't remember this episode, but I definitely did not
I
think that James Earl
remember
Jones was gonna
the
show up.
voice and like being deeper and it being the character. I remember the character, but I didn't realize, as a kid, I just didn't realize it. I probably recognized the voice like when I was a kid too, but it was just like one of those
Probably,
things.
yeah. He does call him Mikey, though, and
Yes.
Mikey's like, "Well, how do you know my name?" And he goes, "Oh, I've seen you around," or whatever. And so he starts talking to this old man, and the old man says, like, "You look like you're moping."
Right.
Mikey says, "Well, I got some bad news. I got some news about a friend. He doesn't really exist." The old man goes, "Oh, you're talking about that jolly fella."
Yes. Gives
He
out
goes,
toys.
Gives out toys, and then as he says, everyone always draws him with a beard.
Yes.
And he scratches,
his
chin.
face.
Yeah. Which is the clue, which is the hint.
And he won't say his name.
Yeah. I do like that though, where he's like, everyone always draws him with
a
a beard. And he's like, I don't have one. But
Yeah.
everyone always draws him with one.
Yeah. It's like, well, maybe you originally had a beard, sir. Look.
Sir, you shaved, sir.
This is my third sir in this episode.
The man tells Mikey not to give up, and that the spirit of Christmas like can be with his friends and like what Santa means and everything. He says some stuff you can't see with your eyes or hear. It doesn't mean it isn't real. Some things exist in your heart.
That's right.
And if you believe in Santa in your heart, he is real. Everything he stands for can be real. Things like giving and selflessness and friendship, which is what I would say this episode is supposed to be about.
Yes.
Like the spirit, not of Christmas necessarily, but just
like,
what Santa
friendship
is
and-
supposed to represent.
Absolutely.
It's like my theory about Captain America, where it's like, yeah, America is not great. It could be if we took lessons from Captain America.
Yes.
He's supposed to be the idealistic version.
I agree.
It's like Santa. Santa is supposed to be about, the idealisticness of giving,
And
being nice
being
to
together,
children, being
yes.
body positive,
Mhm.
all of that stuff.
Absolutely.
And they think maybe there's a way that you can get some of them to believe again. The watch on the old man goes off and he goes, "Oh, it's tapioca night. I better get in." Tells Mikey Merry Christmas. The pageant, the worldwide pageant has begun. Dick Clark is hosting it, and that was even weirder too, because I was like, Dick Clark was on this.
Yes.
He sends it over. Rachel, you and I both looked at each other for a second and then laughed at this lame-ass, stupid... It's not even a joke, but we both laughed at it, where he goes, all right, we're going to go to the space shuttle now or whatever, and the astronauts go, Houston, we have a holiday. It's like the dumbest thing.
It's so
but we
stupid.
both laughed at it because it was like, that was like, what was the point of that? But it was just like this small, it's just this world building.
It's the world building thing. And one, they're doing, and we were right, like that was like, there's a lot of pieces to this whole special. And two, I'm like, they would totally do that too.
Yes.
Where they're just floating in space going, we have a holiday. Because we think it's funny.
Right. We're going back to the winter solstice extravaganza at Principal Prickly's 3rd Street School, is what he says.
Yes.
Dick Clark said my name. Prickly's very happy about this.
Of course.
A very limited little thing here. The Ashleys do a dance. Gretchen and Spinelli are druids. They're singing, but they're not really singing. They're singing like Kesha sings. They're like sing-talking.
Yeah, sing-talking. Well, that's okay, because if you can't sing, that's the way to do it.
Oh, that's the way you gotta do it.
You kind of just rhyme.
Yeah, don't try to sing like I would. They're druids, they burn Yule logs, and then Gus is a magic folk, not an elf. The animation on Gus hopping up and down really should be memed for something, but I don't know what.
But I feel like it has to
because he's got his arms down, he's not moving them, but he's like...
He's like half doing
like
the Naruto run, but like, like skipping.
It reminds me of the Model UN episode of The Simpsons where Martin keeps doing the... like it's that same... Vince comes out as good King.
Of course.
Good King.
Of course he is.
Well, I would have enjoyed if they flipped to Good King Kwanzaa and Harry Hanukkah were.
I mean, yeah,
just
he
for
could have been.
shits.
Yeah.
But Vince comes out as Good King Kwanzaa. TJ is Harvey
Which I mean,
Hanukkah.
honestly, if they probably do celebrate it, so it kind of makes sense that he would be. And part of me goes, is TJ Jewish?
I don't think he is, but then I keep wondering
is
if
he
there
half
was
Jewish?
Was
or
there
is he
another
Jewish?
episode where he's
was.
half Jewish?
I think there was.
And I
That's why
think
my
there might
brain
have
is like
been.
sitting here like, wait, I think he actually is Jewish.
I think there's another episode where they do celebrate with half the family. They celebrate Hanukkah.
This is fine because they did pick the kid who celebrates Kwanzaa,
Yeah,
and
I
they
mean-
picked the kid who celebrates.
Yeah. Boys and girls at
Hanukkah.
home, let me know if that's right, but my memories are
couldn't
telling me
remember
there's an
either, but
episode where the sister does something with Hanukkah.
I kept thinking it too.
Yeah, okay.
We're
I'm not
probably
going to look
totally
it up. I
wrong.
refuse to research it.
We're not looking it up right now. We'll do it later. We're keeping it.
Keeping it in.
Canon.
They make way for Santa. They all line up for Santa to come through. And it's Randall on stilts for some reason.
Oh my god, it's so awkward.
Why is he on the stilts? Is it because
I guess
it's
he's
built
supposed
for
to be
Mikey?
a big dude, right? And yeah, I guess it's just it's so silly because I think he's just supposed to be a taller, bigger dude, and he's on stilts.
And he freezes. He is not able to say his lines. Mr. Bream wants to turn it on to the Waikiki and get out of here before anything could go wrong, but Prickly stops him from switching the feed, and they begin to like rustle around. TJ tries to save him and like get him to be able to do his lines, but Randall passes out. And they're like, what are we going to do? And then you hear, oh, ho, ho.
And the real Santa comes in.
And it's Mikey being led by the kindergartners, not as reindeer, but just as like elves.
Yeah, they're just like the
pulling him
elves.
in. And Mikey says he's got to give people the spirit back, and he
Which,
tells
looking at
people-
Mikey in this costume, let's just talk about that for a second.
Go
His
for it.
tiny face.
He has such a small face.
What is with this tiny face?
Yeah, you don't realize it until you see him in this particular costume.
Anyways, that's all. Otherwise, he looks pretty good.
He says his lines, and then he sings for like 3 minutes.
It's
he
a
sings
long
White Christmas.
time.
And it's
in the slowest, droniest.
Okay, so it's Robert.
rendition.
It is Robert Goulet doing the voice.
That's fine, but he could still sing it a little bit, more.
But he's
upbeat.
doing the most lounge singer. Like I've been doing
He's
it since we watched the episode.
He's on a stool. He's got his drink in his hand.
Dreaming of a white Christmas. How we doing, everybody, tonight? Just like the ones I used to know.
Yeah. Anyways,
as he's singing this, it begins to snow. And Hank looks super excited. Or he just has like a little smile on his face, actually.
He's just like, see? snow. I mean, snow is kind of wonderful. I do like it when it snows.
I like that we have Robert Goulet singing White Christmas on a
wonderful.
Recess episode.
Yes.
It's a nice preservation of Robert Goulet, actually. So he does it. It's kind of touching, and it's ridiculous at the same time because Robert Goulet's voice is coming out of Mikey like this.
Out of a child, yes.
Mr. Bream
It makes everybody
cries.
cry.
I like that too. I wish that Prickly would have like patted him on the back.
I feel like that would have, or they would have like hugged each other.
I kind of wonder if Miss Salamone saw it.
I hope she did. Oh, it would have been fun to cut to her. They should have cut to her, and she could have been like
with like that look on her face.
She's just so proud of him because he just did this in front of like this live audience.
That should have been included.
I would have
that should have been
loved
included.
that.
Yep, that would have made it better.
Ah,
folks at home, get on the horn
just
with
made it better.
Disney animation and just tell them to like
add
stick
just
a little
snippet
3-second thing there. Yeah.
Just wiping a tear. That's it. That's all I want.
It
He's cooking or something. That's what I imagine. I don't know why.
They're throwing flowers at Mikey, and Gus says, if there really was a Santa, he'd be just like you.
Aww. It's so cute, though.
Hank runs in and says that it's snowing, and they all run outside to see the snow. And it has snowed. Like, if it snowed this much during this pageant, it would be like blizzard conditions.
It probably
There's like
is.
6 inches on the ground.
Yeah.
The kids all start playing
He said it was going to be like a blizzard. He
yeah.
was expecting like a whiteout blizzard.
Yeah. The kids are all playing. I do like that.
Making actual snowmen. And
Hank is just plowing the snow. Like, that looked the most the Simpsons groundskeeper really drunk on his mower. Because he's just plowing through. There's snow
in like
just
the middle of a
flying
snowball
up at the
fight.
kids.
He's just like snow in their faces.
Mikey's watching from a distance, and the old man comes back. And he's like, hey, Mikey, that was great. Mikey's like, well, I was only able to do it thanks to you, mister.
I don't think it was closed, Mikey. I just think you'd gone and taken a lunch break. Well, I better get going. I still have lots to do before the big day.
Hey, mister. How'd you know about my show?
You invited me, remember?
I did?
And as he walks away, the note flies out of the old man's pocket.
That's right.
Into Mikey's arms. The kids come over and they're like, who was that guy that you were talking to, Mikey? And they're like, wait a minute, isn't that the note that you gave to Santa?
That you ripped up and threw away?
So it's the old cliche, and then Mikey runs off to try to find the old man, and the old man is Santa Claus.
And
Santa
he's
flown away in his sleigh. He says ho ho ho, and they're all like, do you know what this means? And Mikey says, yeah, Santa shaved. Which is a nice moment, because that means that he never really did forget that Santa's real.
No, because he in his heart he will always believe.
We get a Merry Christmas from James Earl Jones.
Yes, which is really nice.
Very pointed this year too, since he died. The year that we're recording this.
Which is sad. I know, I saw that and I hated it. I was like, oh.
So it's nice that we got like the Santa, because James Earl Jones should be a Santa.
Oh my God, he would have been a perfect Santa. He would have been a perfect Santa.
To get him in this as Santa.
Absolutely.
And he was like 93 or something.
Yeah, but come on, I want him to live forever because he is.
As millennials.
I want everybody to live forever.
Well, yeah, as millennials, millennials want everyone to live forever. But James Earl Jones has been a part of so much stuff.
Oh my God, so much stuff. Great voice for it. Very jovial. Body positive.
James Earl Jones, body positive. That's a shirt. And then that's the end. The end credits are Robert Goulet doing a Jingle Bells.
Oh
like
my
a
God,
Batman
I love this one.
version of Jingle Bells,
yes, like
but
the
it's
Batman
for
smells.
Recess.
And it's fantastic.
The only ones that I can remember are Jingle Bells, Prickly Smells, Menlo's Such a Drag, the Ashley girls flip their curls, and Finster is a hag.
Randall tells kindergartners scream. What's that noise? The
Digger Boys. For lunch they ate some beans.
So it's really cute. I love that.
2 weeks off from school, no more books or lunch from cooks. The holidays are cool. Tip your waitress.
Yeah.
So that is the end of Yes, Mikey, Santa Does Shave. Now, the only other thing I was going to mention was I do think that this is a trope. The one that comes to mind the most for me is the Home Improvement episode where the youngest boy, the two older ones are telling him that Santa doesn't exist and he wants to think that Santa exists.
I think I kind of remember that.
And
That's
then,
been years.
Wilson comes over
yes,
as Santa.
Wilson.
And then at the end, they all think it was Wilson. They did think that Wilson was just doing something nice for him to like show him that Santa exists. And they're like, that was such a good thing Wilson did. And then they're both like, wait a minute, like the parents, and they look over and Wilson goes, "Heidi ho, neighbor." And then they're like, "You don't think?" And then like the little boy's like, and then like they see the Santas flying over. It's the same exact thing.
It's
and
the
then,
same
like,
idea.
The crowd applauds at it. I'm sure that this has happened in every
Oh my God, they do it all the
sitcom
time.
that has a little kid.
Right.
I think it's very, very tropey.
I feel like it's hard not to do it because it's that losing your spirit and wanting to
Something
bring it back.
that happens to everyone.
Yeah.
Rachel, we have come to that time of the show where I will ask you.
Okay.
Does Santa, Mikey does shave? I said it.
Mikey shaves.
He might shave. Mikey seems like that kid. Hey, Josh, how long have you been shaving? A couple of years. Does this episode of Recess have shelf life? Christmas shelf life?
It's a very cute episode. It has that trope. It has like it hits those points. You know, it's very kiddish, so it has like some silly stuff to it. I do love all of the voices that we get in this episode, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
I love the Santa that they chose for it because he's so perfect. I like this episode. I'm going to put it on my Christmas shelf. I'm going to put it on the Recess shelf.
Yeah. You didn't even remember what happened in it except for the ho-ho-ho.
I remember the ho-ho-ho, and I remembered the Santa character.
I didn't remember the Santa character.
That's like those are the only two things I remember.
Like, okay, this is Santa. I mean, you can see it coming a mile away.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a kids show.
But it's a kids show, and it's really cute, and I love their like interactions with each other. You know, I love the kids together, and it's just cute to see their dynamic and everything.
Yeah, it is a kids show, so the plot is very, very, very
it's very silly and very predictable.
But like I've said throughout this episode, that I think that Recess elevates itself a lot with the little things that it does. It does the little things right, and that helps to elevate itself above other things. I think this is cute enough. It's not my favorite episode of Recess by any stretch of the imagination, but it does seem to. It has a nice. It's a nice Christmas episode.
Yes.
And
I don't feel like Mikey does get some episodes, but I feel like
he doesn't get a ton of episodes.
This was a nice
himself.
Episode for Mikey.
Yes, absolutely. Because of his spirit of innocence and stuff, I think so too. The singing by Robert Goulet is great.
Oh, absolutely.
James Earl Jones as Santa is fantastic. I don't know how this was... For all I know, the only time somebody thought James Earl Jones as a Santa would be good, but like I'm glad that we have that. Yeah, I agree with you. It has shelf life. It's on the shelf for me. It's a Christmas shelf for sure.
Yeah.
Like, I think it'd just be an average Recess episode otherwise, but with that Christmasness to it, it's definitely something you can come back to and you can watch it alongside Simpsons Roasting or Mr. Hanky or any of those other Rapture's Delight or any of those other ones that you watch. I mean, we watch them back to back, and they're so different in tone and message, except not really even message. The message is kind of similar.
It's similar.
But the tone is so different.
Right.
For both being animated shows. But yes, shelf life for me.
Cool. I like it.
Well, fire is starting to go down and die down here at the Shelf Life Studios. We've had a nice little Christmas day with all of you out there listening. We'd like to thank you all, of course, for listening to us. Rachel and I do this for ourselves, but seeing people actually enjoy the show is always nice as well. For those of you that want to keep your Christmas going with Shelf Life, we have several holiday episodes for you that are that have already been done. If you're listening in this future, I'm sure that there's even more. But
That's
I mean,
right.
Rachel, we've got a ton. We've got the holiday extravaganza from last year where we covered
Yes.
Rudolph and
Grinch.
the Grinch. We've got Simpsons Roasting on an Open Fire. We've got Mr. Hanky the Christmas Pooh. We've got a Christmas Story that we just
Yes.
came out with. We
The
have
Holiday.
the Holiday. Probably one of our better episodes.
Why is that one of our favorites?
I really like the holiday extravaganza from last year as well.
That one's a good one.
But we thank you all for joining us, for having fun with us here on the holiday extravaganza. This year's holiday extravaganza. Until next time, be sure to be good to each other and have a very Merry Christmas, a happy holidays, and
Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah.
And a solemn Ramadan. That's from something. I can't remember what. Or whatever you might celebrate, even if it's absolutely nothing.
Happy Yule.
Just have fun.
Happy Winter Solstice.
I was gonna say Happy New Year, but we might have
there might
something
be
for
something
them
in
before
the
that.
cards.
Something near and dear to Rachel and I's heart.
Yes.
But until next time, I have been Kevin.
And I'm Rachel.
And this has been a very happy Shelf Life holiday extravaganza. Ho! 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 I need to do that one again. That was terrible. Rachel, let me hear Mikey doing it. All right, I got it. Ho! 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 Oh, ah.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Happy Hanukkah. This is ass. This is your ass. Happy Hanukkah.
Kneel before the Lord, punk.
Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.